Talksport's commentary team of Ian Danter and former Arsenal winger Perry Groves are at St Mary's in place. Let's discuss Villa, shall we? They were given the runaround in midweek by PSG, but they do have a goal which will be crucial in their Champions League quarter-final tie still. How are they going to be feeling today? We saw what happened to Arsenal last week when they had Real Madrid in mind. It worked in their favour for the Champions League, but not necessarily for the Premier League. How's Unai Emery going to be managing this?
Well, he's made the 4 changes, Faye. We were talking before when we danced. I actually thought he might make more changes than that because obviously he needs fresh legs. And Villa haven't been that great after Champions League game. They've only won 2 of their 9 Premier League games in a midweek Champions League game, Faye. And half their Premier League defeats have occurred after Champions League game. They've lost 8, they've got 4 of those after that Champions League. So, they have had a reaction. It has affected them. But today, Unai Emery was saying to this starting 11, you put that out of the mind. PSG, not even on the radar. We got to make sure that we show Southampton respect, that we actually play to our maximum to the 100%, and we know, Faye, that they like to press from the front. It'll be interesting to see as well. Marcus Rashford's playing up front, so is he going to set off the press? Because I thought, not that he was lazy midweek, but I thought he could have actually helped his team out a little bit more. But since him and Asensio have made their debuts for Aston Villa, it's only Liverpool picked up more points than what Aston Villa have. I think they've picked up 14 and Liverpool 16, so they've had a big impact on this Aston Villa side.
Yeah, without a doubt. What do you make of the coefficient, meaning that there are 5 places in the Champions League for English teams? Darren Bent said this week that actually it weakens the competition. Are you in favour of it? Do you agree? I mean, it's great for the Premier League, obviously, but is it good for the Champions League?
To be fair, I don't think the fans of the teams that might get in, the top 5 are really bothered about whether they think they make it weaker or not. So they just want to play in with a big ball. And the owners, obviously, with the money that you get if you're in the Champions League.
And let's not forget, it could be 6. If Tottenham or Manchester United win the Europa League, we got 6 teams in there.
Does that not then erase one? You know how it used to? So
I'm pretty sure it does now. Somebody could well prove me wrong on that, but as it stands, you could have 6.
Because we've seen teams miss out before because of that, haven't we?
Well, Everton missed out on the Champions League in the old system,
That's
yes,
it.
when they finished top 4.
But also you'll have to qualify for the league stages, won't you, beforehand?
Yes.
So I don't think someone else will miss out. But from the Premier League, obviously it will just enhance our position of trying to be the strongest, which I think it is the strongest, most competitive league in Europe. So, and we'll see, won't we, next week, Faye, with the return legs, with Arsenal obviously going to Real Madrid.
Well, I don't think it's a problem when you've got teams like Nottingham Forest who haven't been in Europe for such a long time qualifying, because there's I dare I say novelty of it, but I don't want it to be a novelty for these teams. I'd like teams to make a regular habit of it. We'll see.
I agree. Right, the players are out at St Mary's. Pride on the line for Southampton, that's for sure. But with 5 English teams confirmed to be competing in the Champions League next season, Villa have their eye on 5th place after Manchester City moved into 4th, coming from behind to beat Crystal Palace earlier on. 3 points to Southampton, though, would ease their relegation embarrassment for sure and make sure that they don't become the worst team in Premier League history. We've got all the goals as they go in from the Premier League and EFL across the afternoon for you. But sit back and enjoy live and exclusive national radio commentary of Southampton against Aston Villa in the company of Perry Groves and your match commentator here on Talksport 2, Ian Danter.
Thank you, Faye, and a very good afternoon to you wherever and however you're listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. A beautiful sunny day on the south coast, as it is around the vast majority of the UK today. Well, Southampton have already suffered the ignominy of suffering the earliest relegation in Premier League history. 7 games left when their fate was sealed at Tottenham last Sunday. And as Faye's just mentioned there, they don't want to suffer further ignominy of being the team with the lowest points total in a Premier League season. They only need 1 to get level with Derby County. They've lost 12 games here at St Mary's. They have never lost 13 in a single campaign. And along come Aston Villa, yes, in the midst of that very important Champions League quarter-final 2-legger against Paris Saint-Germain, which will conclude on Tuesday at Villa Park, but also with a chance to go back into the automatic qualification spots for Champions League football this afternoon if they get the job done here on the south coast. Let's run you through the team news. 2 changes for Southampton. Paul Onuachu and Jack Stevens are recalled by interim manager Simon Rusk. And Joe Aribo and Tyler Dibbling, a much sought after youngster, are the 2 that make way. So for Southampton, Aaron Ramsdale is in goal. Kyle Walker-Peters, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Jack Stevens, Jan Bednarek and Ryan Manning in what looks like a back 5. Kamaldeen Sulemana, Matthias Fernandes and Leslie Ogochukwu, 3 in midfield. Cameron Archer partnering Paul Onuachu up front. For Aston Villa, in between those 2 legs against the Parisians, 4 changes made by Unai Emery. Out go Torres, Digne, Kamara and McGinn. Maybe they will all return on Tuesday. We'll wait and see. In come Mings, Maatsen, Onana and Asensio. Emiliano Martinez in goal. Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Tyrone Mings, Ian Maatsen in the back 4. Amadou Onana, Yuri Tielemans holding. Then Morgan Rogers, Marco Asensio, Jacob Ramsey in behind Marcus Rashford. The brass band's playing out the When the Saints Go marching in on the corner of the stadium. Villa in their change strip today of the dark navy blue shirts with white shorts and dark socks. Southampton in the regulation red and white shirts, white socks, black shorts. And we're sat at the back of the Itchen stand here, overlooking the dugouts beneath us as Simon Rusk comes out to survey the scene from the edge of his technical area. Villa fans away in the corner where the Chapel stand meets the Kingsland stand opposite us. So the Chapel end to our left, the Northam stand to our right. And I will say, we did wonder before kick-off as players take the knee, as they continue to show their support for the fight against racism in all its forms. St Mary's, Perry Groves, as we get underway, is respectably full today.
Yep, it's full, dance, but at the moment the atmosphere is more akin to like a pre-season game, isn't it? So it's going to be up to the Southampton players to get the Southampton fans behind them and give them something to shout and cheer about.
Villa getting us underway, so they're kicking towards the Northam stand to our right. Villa in this first half. Beautiful, bright sunshine, and only really a third of Emiliano Martinez's penalty area to our left is in shade. Rashford sent clear by a through ball down the right-hand side, tries a shot, blocked behind by Bednarek, and Villa have an early corner inside the first minute, 0-0.
Yeah, Southampton trying to put the pressure on Dance, but it's not coordinated. It's a long ball from Tyrone Mings, just straight through the middle of Southampton's defence. Marcus Rashford bends his run really well, gets himself the other side of Bednarek, and then in the end Bednarek gets a good sliding tackling corner for Villa on their right-hand side,
which will be taken on that right-hand side by Marco Asensio. Left-footed in-swinger to come from the Spaniard. Aaron Ramsdale standing just in front of his goal line, arms aloft, looking to avoid being buffeted as Asensio sends the corner in near post. Headed out at the near post quite strongly in the end by Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and it just goes out for a throw to Villa on this near side that Matty Cash preparing to take. Grabs a ball off one of the cones in the multi-ball system. Could be a long throw from the Polish international. It's level with the edge of the area. He is taking a few steps back towards the cinder track outside the perimeter of the pitch. Here he comes, Cash. He's going to launch it into the Southampton box. Good distance on it. Headed up and out by the giant Onuachu, and then Maatsen tries a half volley from 25 yards out that is shanked horribly wide, and Southampton have a goal kick, 0-0.
To be fair to Matty Cash, Dance, that's a proper long throw. I'll give him that one. But if there's a throwing coach, what you say to Matty Cash is, if the opposition has a player who's 6'7", try and make sure that you throw it anywhere apart from on his head. And it's exactly what he did, didn't he? Just threw it straight to Onuachu. Good defending, so just, sort of use your football intelligence.
Note to Austin McPhee, presumably down watching on beneath us with his familiar long hair next to Unai Emery. So Villa in the midst of this very important two-legged affair against Paris Saint-Germain. We'll keep you in touch with all the goals that are going in elsewhere this afternoon. There's only 2 of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League: Brighton, Leicester and Forest, Everton, all which will have bearings on things toward the top of the table. Brighton and Forest particularly. Onuachu clatters into Tyrone Mings, who was a little casual, trying to bring the ball out of defence for Aston Villa. And the giant Belgian, he's limping as he gets back to his feet. Mings is staying down and needs treatment, it would appear. And the Villa physios Are they going to be called for? No, he's going to get back onto his haunches and he will eventually be back on his feet, Tyrone Mings. But mind you, when somebody 6'7" lands on, you're going to feel it, aren't you, Perry?
We said before the game, didn't we, that it was like a sort of pre-season atmosphere here. Tyrone Mings was playing there as if it was a pre-season game because the ball just dropped over his shoulder. He said there he was far too lackadaisy. And then Owachu thought, actually, I might go and close him down. And obviously he's clattered into him. Tyrone Mings is all right. He's just got himself back on the ball. Just looking at Southampton dance, we wondered how they'd sort of line up, and it just looks like it's going to be on Owachu. Obviously knew he'd be up front, and Cameron Archer alongside him.
It is a 5-3-2 for the Saints. Tielemans for Aston Villa in the centre circle. Plays the ball left to Jacob Ramsey, being faced up by Cameron Archer. Tucked in field to Onana, and he will let the ball run across his body to the edge of the centre circle. Now collects it, just jinks away from Owachu. Short pass into Morgan Rogers, but he can't get away from the attentions of Leslie Ogunchukwu. Now out to the left-hand side, Villa trying to build, but back it goes to the goalkeeper. Accrington Stanley lead Tranmere. First goal in the 3 o'clocks has gone in. Those are the two teams just above the bottom two in League Two. Stanley starting the afternoon 6 points clear of Morecambe, and Ben Woods has given Stanley a first-minute lead. And Lincoln leads Shrewsbury by a 1-0. Shrewsbury will be relegated with defeat this afternoon, and Tom Bayliss has given the Imps the lead. Southampton coming forward with Harwood Bellis. Plays into the feet of Matías Fernandes. Probably one of the few plus points that Southampton have had all season, the form of Matías Fernandes. Manning, left-hand side, just inside the Villa half. 0-0, nearly 5 minutes gone on Talksport 2.
Just looking at Southampton dance, obviously playing the three at the back. Harwood Bellis on the right-hand side, Stevens on this left. That means they can push Ryan Manning as the left wing-back. Birch is a left winger. On the far side, Carl Walker-Peters as well. But Southampton's just got to move the ball a little bit quicker. When it comes out to Harwood Bellis, he's ping it out to Walker-Peters instead of travelling with it.
And Harwood Bellis feeds it out to Walker-Peters. Looks for the run down the right-hand side of the box of Archer. Former Villa player, let's not forget. Trying to nod the ball and run past Tyrone Mings, but skipped away from Archer and through to the grateful arms of Emiliano Martinez. 5.5 played on Talksport 2, 0-0. And Port Vale lead Bromley. Bradford were beaten 5-4 in a thriller at Swindon at lunchtime in League 2. Bradford top of League 2, but Port Vale can go above them, and they lead at Vale Park through Jack Shorrock. Walsall also in action today. They're a point behind Port Vale. They're travelling to Barrow this afternoon. And earlier today, Birmingham City confirmed champions of League One after Wrexham failed to beat Wigan. Wickham only a point behind Wrexham now, rather, for that second automatic spot they won against Stevenage at lunchtime. Here's Villa coming forward with Onana, trying to throw the ball up to the edge of the area. Comes back to Onana. Quick pass from Asensio back for Tielemans in the centre of the Southampton half. Rolls it to his left for Mings. Mings out to Matson, left-hand side, being held up by Walker-Peters. There won't be much width for Villa to exploit going forward with a 5 at the back that Southampton have got stretched out across the field.
Also, Dan, from Villa at the minute, it's a little bit narrow. You've got Morgan Rogers on this right-hand side who's come in a little bit inverted. Jacob Rams on the left-hand side. So it's easy for Southampton to defend at the moment.
Southampton can now break. Cameron Archer over the right-hand side. Walker-Peters going up on his outside, gives the ball out to him, but Matson took the ball off him so clinically and so simply, and the game is stretched a little bit, and Villa might be able to exploit this as they come forward over the halfway line with Youri Tielemans. Slides it out to Rogers, right hand side. Early touch, just jinks away from Manning. Right hand corner of the box, tries to clip the ball to the far post. He was looking for Jacob Ramsey. Half cleared by Southampton. They've got men back behind the ball now, but it's with Morgan Rogers once again, right hand side for Villa by the corner of the box. Tries to feed Cash on the overlap. That's too much of him really, and Sulemana could slide in and put it out for a throw. 0-0.
Dan, so it all started because Matson just brushed Carl Walker-Peters like a fly on his shoulder. Just like brushed him off. Walker-Peters got to be a lot stronger. He gets the ball, then they transfer it out to Rogers on this right hand side. There's a little skip past Bednarek, but can't pick the right pass. But again, it's just the pace of the game is at pre-season pace dance, is it, at the minute? You know, neither team was moving the ball quick enough.
Onana for Aston Villa. Southampton 0, Villa 0. 8 minutes played at St Mary's. Onana forced by Ogunchukwu to go back to Concert, the right-sided centre half of Villa, just inside the Southampton half. Onana again just chips the ball into Rashford, who heads for goal from a tight angle. It was coming across him inside the area as he ran left to right. It's a lovely attempt, but comfortably held by Ramsdale, 0-0.
Yeah, nice little sort of pitching wedge there from Onana, just trying to feed in Rashford, just making a run from the centre out to the right hand side. And what he's trying to do, Dan, as it drops over his shoulder, he's trying to redirect it, and he with his forehead into Ramsdale's far right hand corner, but couldn't quite get enough purchase on it from his header.
0-0.
In the end, Ramsdale picked it up quite easily.
Sulemana coming forward as Southampton lob the ball into the Villa box. It's a drive that's deflected. It might drop for Onuachu as Mings again took his time before clearing it. Squirts out to Walker-Peters right hand side, who hits across. It's deflected up in the air of Ramsey and makes it a comfortable claim for Martinez. That's 0-0. Burton Albion with a huge goal in League One at home to Huddersfield Town. They're 3 points adrift of safety, the Brewers, but they lead the Terrys, who themselves need the points to get in touch with the playoff pack. Rumaan Burrell puts Burton 1-0 up at the Pirelli. 0-0 here.
Burton Albion boss Gary Barria has never lost a league game against Huddersfield as a manager. Played 7, won 2, drew 5.
Got the perfect start up there in the Midlands. Here we are on the south coast with Southampton and Villa at 0-0. Kamaldeen Sulemana drifting out to the left-hand side. Rashford getting back to close down the space and force the throw out of Kamaldeen Sulemana. So it's a throw to Southampton to be taken by Ryan Manning. 20 yards from the dead ball on this near side, with Southampton attacking the Chapel end.
There's a little snapshot there of Marcus Rashford, dance, where he wasn't doing that for Manchester United. He just tracked back, 30, 40 yards to Sulemana.
Sulemana trying to make his way into the penalty area from Manning's throw, but Villa win possession back. Morgan Rogers just eases it back to Emiliano Martinez, who just walking out from the 6-yard box with the ball at his feet. No pressure from either Onuachu or from Archer, so he can just flick the ball to his right for Esri Konsa. Konsa can bring the ball into the midway point of the half. You're listening to Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, like Arsenal against Brentford live later today. Just search Now Sports.
Do you mean Arsenal reserves against Brentford?
Could well be.
On Talksport.
We'll find out soon enough. Rashford for Villa, who've made changes today, but still a very, very strong side. It doesn't feel like a rotated side today for Aston Villa with the 11 that they've got out there. Tielemans, one of the mainstays, chips the ball down the left-hand side of the area. Ramsey tries to force it across the face of goal, but Southampton have got numbers back and get it clear. Stockport 0, Rotherham 1 in League One. Hatters are 7 points off an automatic spot at the start of the day, but they're behind Malik Wilkes for Rotherham. And Solihull Moors lead at Southend by 1-0 in the National League. But Solihull have had a very poor season by their recent standards. Villa have won a free kick, centre of the Southampton half. Fernandez the aggressor. And the referee, who is Thomas Bramall this afternoon, quick to award the free kick for Villa.
Yeah, just Maatsen coming inverted. Fernandez just tracking the run. Just a little bit late with his sliding tackle. Just a couple of times Maatsen actually has got in behind Archer, who's slept a little bit on that right-hand side for Southampton.
Austin McPhee's going absolutely potty just down beneath us, the set-piece coach. Of course, we had the set-piece coach going potty at Declan Rice, saying feed it into the box on Tuesday. Declan Rice proved him once, smashed it home. In it comes from Tielemans, floating it for Cash at the far post, heads it across the face of goal and headed away for a corner by Southampton. Bednarek got the touch in front of goal. 0-0.
You see Austin McPhee putting his hand up in the air saying, yeah, that was my idea. There's just a little chip ball in from Tielemans. Matty Cash, his false nose and glasses, getting himself behind Ryan Manning, who fell asleep. Cash couldn't quite get the header to the far post. Gets deflected, goes out for corner for Aston Villa on their right-hand side.
Where the Itchen stand meets the Northam stand to our right. Ramsey picks it up right-hand corner of the box, gives it back to Asensio, floats it in. Mings rose, but didn't really have his eye on the ball. It almost came off his back and went behind for a Southampton goal kick. Bristol Rovers 0, Exeter 1 in League One this afternoon. Exeter 10 points clear of relegation, but Bristol Rovers 5 straight defeats, only 3 points clear of Burton at the start of the day. As I told you, Burton are winning. Caleb Watts for Exeter, and West Brom, boy how they need a win. No win and no clean sheet in 5, but they've got a goal against Watford. Karlan Grant for the Baggies at the Hawthorns in the Championship. And earlier today, you heard it, Leeds United back top on goal difference. Mark Wilson and Courtney Sweetman were our commentary team at Ellen Road as they won that game at lunchtime against Preston 2-1, while Sheffield United lost for a third time in a week 2-1 at Plymouth, who've really narrowed the gap at the bottom. Only 2 points adrift of safety now, Plymouth Argyle. Brilliant result for the West Country side.
To be fair, Dan, I did the Leeds Swansea game for Talksport when it was 2-2, and I thought that the pressure had got to Leeds, but since then they've taken 7 points out of 9, left out Melier, put Darlow back in, and say Leeds look like they're on their way.
And in the Premier League, Crystal Palace dared to take a 2-0 lead at the Etihad, only to get smashed 5-2 in the end by Manchester City.
Don't poke the bear with a sharp stick too early. Mind you, first automated offside decision was given, wasn't it, for Eberechi Eze? Could have been 3-0.
Yeah, we are in a VAR free zone in the EFL, but not in the Premier League. Southampton won't have any VARs to worry about next season. Here's Sulemana for the Saints as Charlton take the lead at Cambridge. Cambridge 7 points adrift, looking doomed. The Addicts only 8 points off the playoffs, and they lead through Tyrese Campbell. And Laurent Tolai gets another goal for Port Vale. They're 2-0 up and going top as it stands of League Two against Bromley. It's the Villa fans that are making all the noise that you can hear opposite us in the far corner of the stadium. It's 0-0. We played nearly a quarter of an hour, and the pre-season feel to this fixture has yet to dissipate. Villa win the ball back though on halfway as Fernandes was dispossessed by Tielemans, who now has it by the centre circle. Awkward touch, and that allows Ogachukwu to win it back for Southampton. Slides it out to the right hand side. Tielemans has stayed down as Cameron Archer is played in behind. Tyrone Mings in the area. Archer should have gone across the face to goal for Onuachu, went for goal instead, and Martinez palmed it away from danger. But Tielemans is still down.
That's a fantastic ball from Kyle Walker-Peters, just feeding it along that right hand touchline. Archer arrows into the byline, and what he should be doing, Dan, he said they should be crossing it across the 6-yard box. So Onuachu's completely unmarked. I actually think he got caught in about 4 minds, because when he looked up, it wasn't really a shot, was it, with any conviction? It wasn't a cross where he should be pulling it back. In the end, it was an easy save for Martinez, like good goalkeeper's height. But just a little warning there for Aston Villa, where Cameron Archer's ready just to run in behind.
Yuri Tielemans has got a problem with his right ankle, I think. He fell awkwardly because he lost possession of the ball just ahead of the centre circle. And then as he tried to retrieve the situation with Ogachukwu coming in at him, fell to the ground. He's back on his feet but hobbling a little, but he should be okay. He doesn't want any physios. In League One, Barnsley 1, Bolton 0. Bolton started the day 2 points behind Reading in 6th, and the Tykes no win in 7, but John Russell's given the Tykes the lead at Oakwell. And Rochdale won Eastleigh 0 in the National League this afternoon. Devante Rodney. Tielemans just feeling his right ankle. He's going to try and continue without treatment, just try and run it off. He's sort of jigging up and down on the spot, trying to stamp out the injury as much as anything else. Back underway, 0-0.
Yeah, I think it's where he's done his hike for extended the ankle joint. He knows full well that if the physio comes on, he has to go off, don't it, for 30 seconds.
Yes.
So he decided that he didn't need the magic sponge, and he's all right.
Aston Villa 0, Southampton 0 here at St Mary's. 17 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Villa have been awarded a free kick because Ryan Manning had a little nibble at Morgan Rogers down the Villa right-hand side, which was spotted not by the referee but by his assistant on this near side.
Well, it was more like a clothesline there from Ryan Manning, because Asensio's played a little give and go with Matty Cash, tried to get him behind him. Ryan Manning's had a massive panic up, just put his forearm across him. Quite right, the assistant down below us on the right hand side, flag for a free kick. Now Austin McPhee, the free kick coach,
he takes over.
Aston Villa's make sure that everybody knows that it's his decision what ball Tielemans is to try and whip in.
I swear he could join Lynyrd Skynyrd and no one will be able to tell the difference. Rashford sends the free kick in. Mings just misses the header. Walker-Peters got the vital touch. I didn't know it came off a Villa player last of all, so it's a Southampton goal kick, 0-0.
Do you mind awfully if I'd ask Austin McPhee, the Aston Villa set-piece coach, a question? you have a centre forward who's taken a free kick 45, 50 yards from goal. Why isn't your centre forward in the 18-yard box, poaching and looking for little, knockdowns? So
this is like Harry Kane taking corners for England at the Euros, isn't it?
Dan, honestly, it is ridiculous. And even if you're Marcus Rashford, right, if you're a centre forward, can you imagine Ian Wright and George Graham saying, right, what I want to do is take the free kicks from like deep in their half.
At this rate, he'll struggle to get a mural, like the bloke at Arsenal.
Very good. Oh, well, he's got another mural, I think, Nicolas Jovet.
He can't claim credit for that Rice free kick. I'm sorry, he was asking for something else entirely.
Well, he told him actually to change the angle and cross it into the 18-yard box.
Real Madrid Arsenal is live on Talksport on Wednesday night with Arsenal 3-0 up. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will be there in the Bernabeu for Talksport. Adrian Durham's going to be out there as well. I'll be with Adrian on Tuesday as we go around the grounds in the Champions League, in the EFL and the WSL. And that includes, of course, Villa's second leg against Paris Saint-Germain, 3-1 down from Wednesday night. Here's Morgan Rogers in the centre of the Southampton half at 0-0. 19 minutes played. Being pressurised by Ogachukwu. Plays it out to the right-hand side. And Cash. Cash has got Rogers going on the overlap, but doesn't use him initially. Now brings him into play. Rogers by the right-hand corner of the area. Gives the ball back to Onana. Strokes it in field for Concert and Mings. Tielemans appears to be okay, by the way. Seems to have run off the ill effects of that ankle knock he picked up a couple of moments ago. And here once again is Matty Cash driving down the right hand side, gives it to Rogers, cuts in field from this near touchline, feeds it into Tielemans, lays it off to Onana. Very patient from Villa, this build-up. Now at the end of the area, Jacob Ramsey turns, fires it against Stevens, and it deflects behind for a Villa corner on 20 minutes, 0-0.
Yeah, Aston Villa worked it really well from this right-hand side. 1 and 2 touch passing from Onana into Ramsey. Then Ramsey just getting himself on the turn, getting it out of his feet on the edge of the D, getting his shot away. Actually, it's a really good block from Stevens. Corner for Aston Villa over on their left-hand side. Which
Rashford will take, where the Kingsland meets the Northam stand on the far side of the field from us. In it comes, right-footed in swinger. Harwood Bellis, the first defender, gets there, meets it and clears it back out to that left-hand side for Villa, where Maatsen retrieves. Gets it back from Rashford, quite deep. Tosses the ball into the area. Headed out by Manning, but only as far as Cash. 30 yards out, had a bit of space to run into to pick up the loose ball. Then it's flicked back into the box by Asensio. By drop for Tielemans, far post, and he hits it against Aaron Ramsdale, who narrowed the angle and spread himself well and holds on to the loose ball, and it stays 0-0.
Yeah, it's a great little ball in from Asensio, just with his left foot, just feeding it into the danger area. Just came out to Tielemans. Tielemans just trying to get his volley away, and then Concert trying to get onto the knockdown. In the end, as it come back to Tielemans, Ramsdale came out with a Peter Schmeichel starfish and just made sure that he closed him down, managed to smother the ball.
And Ramsdale has it fired back to him by Stevens, who's captaining Southampton today. One of the two players brought in by Simon Rusk, the interim manager, looking after things for a second time this season. Adam Lallana, Southampton stalwart, is now his assistant coach, but he's not on the bench today, I notice, for Southampton, preferring to have a watching brief alongside his interim manager. Long ball downfield looking for Rashford. Tries to win the header at the edge of the area. Didn't know where the ball had bounced initially. By the time he realised where it was, Southampton have won it back. QPR 1, Bristol City 0 in the Championship. That's a big goal against Bristol City, who were 3 points clear of 7th at the start of the day. And QPR with Karamoko Dembele have put themselves ahead at the Loft. Here is Marco Asensio for Aston Villa. 0-0 as we approach the midway point of the first half of St Mary's. Rashford lays it back to Maatsen. Maatsen gives it out to the left-hand side, where Jacob Ramsey thought about putting the ball into the area, but instead they've worked it back in field instead. Onana gets his head up, thought about chipping it into the area, but floats it down the left-hand side for Maatsen, who drove it along the 18-yard line. There was an over from a Villa player, I think it was Tielemans, it allowed Southampton to bring it away, but it comes to nothing because Sulemana can't sort his feet out, and it's back with a Villa goalkeeper, 0-0.
It's about the third time that Maatsen's got in down that left-hand side. What he should be doing there, Dan, is just whipping it in between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. He's tried to pull it back to the edge of the box. Southampton just managed to clear the danger.
Cash down the right-hand side for Aston Villa as they push again into the Southampton half. Asensio didn't play in Paris from the start in the week. When Villa need goals on Tuesday, will he start the game? So many whys and wherefores about what Unai Emery could do at Villa Park on Tuesday evening. Here's Rodgers again, down the right-hand side of the Southampton box, but being marshalled well by Manning. And so back he goes to Yuri Tielemans. Rodgers again, now he can cut infield towards the edge of the area for a second time. Tried to flick it to Asensio, but Ogachukwu and Onuachu got it clear, but then Matis Fernandez sees the ball drift behind him. Jacob Ramsey makes a strong run into the area, goes down eventually, and the referee says no foul. It is instead just continuation of play. Ball didn't go out. Aaron Ramsdale has it in his arms. He stays 0-0, and Shrewsbury, who I mentioned, will be relegated if they lose today, or indeed they will be relegated if Bristol City win, but they're losing. Aaron Pierre's equalised for the Shrews at Lincoln. That's 1-1. And Barrow lead Walsall by a goal to nil. At the top of League Two, remember, Walsall been on a dreadful run under Matt Sadler when they were so far clear. No winning 9. And Aaron Presley has popped up to give Barrow the advantage up there in Cumbria. 0-0 here. 24 minutes gone on Talksport 2 in the Premier League. And did the throw from Matty Cash bounce before it went back into play? I think it did. I think that's what the referee is saying. So he has to take it a second time. Yeah,
just looking at Aston Villa, Dance, because they haven't got any natural width, you can tell that midweek Simon Rusk and Adam Lallana, obviously interim coaches of Southampton, they've been working on their team shape. You can tell that they've worked on the 5-3-2 to keep it very, very narrow.
Matsson's away though again down the left-hand side from a floated pass that was intended for Asensio. Maatsen tries to drive it across the face of goal. Good defending by Kyle Walker-Peters. Stayed on his feet and won it back, but then Fernandez loses out to Tielemans. Maatsen again, left-hand side, finds Ramsey. Asensio just outside the area. Rodgers plays it short into Ramsey, trying to turn it around the corner, but there was Fernandez there again. Good quick feet from the youngster, and he brings it away for Southampton. 0-0.
Yeah, good play from Fernandez, just picking the pocket of Asensio. Now he's just driven the ball out to his left-hand side.
Ryan Manning puts the ball into the box, but comfortably defended, put behind by Conser for Southampton's first corner of the game on 25 minutes. 0-0.
Finally, says their Dance, after 25 minutes. There's something for the Southampton fans to get behind and start cheering their team, because it was really good play from Fernandez, just driving with the ball on that left-hand side. Manning going on the overlap, just getting the ball out of his feet first time, trying to whip it into the danger in the 6-yard box.
It is going to be Fernandez to take the corner at the chapel end where it meets the Itchen stand that we're sat in. Right-footed in-swinger to come from Fernandez into the centre of the 6-yard box, headed out by Onana. There was a push on a Villa player. A couple of goals going in elsewhere. 0-0 here. Accrington 2-0 upon Tranmere. Now Tyler Walton with the second for Stanley, and Bolton have fallen further behind to Barnsley at Oakwell. Remember, as mentioned, Bolton outside the playoff pack at the moment, desperate for a win, but it's 2-0 Barnsley. Fabio Jallo with a second for the Tykes. 0-0 here, and Southampton send a few substitutes to warm up down beneath us as the ball goes into the feet of Jacob Ramsey. Finds Asensio, just flicks the ball out to the left hand side of Maatsen, midway point of the Southampton half. Infield it goes to Morgan Rodgers, and then Tielemans strokes it out very neatly to Asensio. Infield it goes, Rodgers at the edge of the area, a bit of a lazy touch, allowed Ogachukwu to win it back, and then Onuachu trying to barrel his way downfield, but just ran into two Villa players who would not let him by. Maatsen again, left-hand side for Aston Villa. Asensio finds Rashford 20 yards out. Ogachukwu slides in, but it breaks for Maatsen, but his cross to the far post is chested back into the control of Ramsdale by Ryan Manning. You get the feeling, Perry Groves, if Villa start going through the gears here, the game's there for them.
I think that's what it is, Dance. They're in probably, third gear at the moment, so it's been very easy in possession up until the final third, where they've just been a little bit sort of lazy with their final pass. But there hasn't been, apart from Maatsen on the left-hand side for Aston Villa, there hasn't really been a threat in behind the Southampton back five. And Ramsdale really hasn't had a save to make in anger. So everything is very lateral at the moment from Aston Villa's point of view. And when they're in possession, 9 times out of 10, all the players of Aston Villa are only in the width of the 18-yard box.
It's currently Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 for the latest odds. Why not head to William Hill the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage. But right now you can get Southampton to win at 9-2, Aston Villa to win 16-8 on. The draw priced at 16-5. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org. 28 minutes played at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0. Carlisle at the foot of the table, lead at Morecambe. That's the bottom two playing each other. And Georgie Kelly, the young Irishman, has scored again for Carlisle United, but they're 8 points adrift. They need to win all their remaining games and then hope. 0-0 here.
Just looking at Southampton, when it comes into Onuachu, like he did there from Kyle Walker-Peters, he's got to make sure that he holds the ball up. You know, 3 or 4 times he's gone into him and his touch has been very loose, a bit lazy, and all that happens is then they just relinquish possession all the way back to Aston Villa, and then they invite pressure on themselves.
Matty Cash for Villa as Port Vale go 2-0 upon Bromley. Another for Laurent Talai. What season he's having. And Vale going top of League 2 as things stand under Darren Moore. Now, foul on an Aston Villa player. It was Anana that was caught by Ogachukwu. Bristol City equalise at QPR. That's 1-1 at the Loft. West Ham loanee George Earthy getting the equaliser. Dundee United 1-0 up on St Johnstone in one of the 3 SPFL games this afternoon.
Right, this is the last time I'm going to mention it about Aston Villa centre forward Marcus Rashford taking another free kick, which is 45-50 yards from goal. He's a centre forward. He's taking free kicks and corners. So is it like, this is my ball? You know, I'm on loan, I've come from Manchester United, I'm going to take all the set pieces.
And here he is taking that set piece into the area, headed up by Onuachu, not completely clear. Swing and a miss from Cameron Archer to try and complete the clearance. Breaks out the left-hand side for Villa and Matson. Left-hand corner of the area, puts the ball into the box just over the head of Tielemans, and Southampton head clear. Sulemana now tries to go through the gears to get to halfway. Rashford closing down the space, then just clips the ball down the inside left channel. Sulemana trying to help the run of Cameron Archer, but it was nowhere near him, and Martinez could reclaim. 0-0.
It was the right idea there, to be fair, from Sulemana. So Cameron Archer made a really good run from that right-hand side. That's just lazy technique, because all that Sulemana's got to do is, with his instead of his left foot, he's just got to bend it down the touchline, and he's hit it dead straight. So I think he needs a bit of chalk on his boot.
A bit like that ball for Bellingham to Mbappe first half at the Emirates on Tuesday night. Here's Morgan Rogers. Oh, he went down late there after a challenge from Manning, and the referee's given the free kick to Aston Villa down the right-hand side of the box for Manning's challenge on Morgan Rogers. But the Southampton players are not happy. What did you make of that challenge, Perry Groves?
It's a couple of foot overs there from Rogers. He's gone on the outside of Ryan Manning. It's just a bit of a panic challenge from Ryan Manning. He does clip him, but to be fair, Morgan Rogers went down so late, Dan, so I think that was nearly in the second half.
Oh, now there's a bit of pushing and shoving between Tyrone Mings and a Southampton player who's faced up by the referee at Stevens, I think, arguing his case. But what it means is Villa have got a free kick down the right-hand side of the penalty area, and Marco Asensio, it's only just outside of the box, so I'm sure that Asensio will try and whip this in towards the near post with his left boot. Southampton holding their defensive line at the edge of the 6-yard box. A few Villa players at the edge of the box unmarked, who the ball could be rolled back to. Cash, Tielemans, Matson, all waiting there. Asensio steps up to the ball, goes near post, hits the one-man wall at the near post, and that's another set piece that goes against Austin McPhee. 0-0. Here's Cash driving the ball back into the box from deep, headed back across goal, comes out to the edge of the box, laid off by Rashford to Matson. Now Tielemans gives it back to Matson, stroked out to the left wing man. Mings is waiting. Infield it goes for Rashford. Rashford takes the ball onto his right, trying to shot from 30 yards out, blocked by Ogachukwu. 0-0.
Well, I think Austin McPhee might be getting his P45, because Asensio's taken free kick on the right hand side, his left foot. Sulemana's, as you said, a one-man wall, and he's hit the one-man wall. For a player of Asensio's quality, that is just not good enough.
I don't think he connected with the ball particularly well anyway. I don't think that was his intention, to the direction the ball went. I don't think he meant it to go anywhere near that one-man walk.
No, I think he was trying to bend it around him. I think he saw Ramsdale just edging to his far post. I think he was trying to bend it into his near post.
Conser for Aston Villa at 0-0. We played 33 minutes on Talksport 2 at St Mary's against already relegated Southampton. Rodgers finds Asensio, right-hand corner of the box, gives it back to Morgan Rodgers. Cash there in support as well. Morgan Rodgers trying to back in it to him. Oh, he's won it off the midfielder Sulemana. Down goes Rodgers in the area, a little theatrically. Referee wanted nothing to do with that. Southampton could only clear to the edge of the centre circle, where it was retrieved for Villa by Mings. Now Tielemans under pressure from Ogachukwu, turns away from him, finds Ramsey down the left-hand side. Tielemans again, square ball to Cash, inside right position. Again, not much width from Villa on the right-hand side from this attack, so they go out left looking for Ramsey. Now Tielemans with a diagonal ball into the box, and Ramsdale almost collided with his own defender, Jack Stevens, but got the ball at the second attempt. You are listening to Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out? Well, with vans of all shapes and sizes, if you've got a plan, they've got a van. Southampton's plan is to keep Villa out with 5 at the back today, and they've done so far. But here's Maatsen making another strong run down the left-hand side and wins Villa a corner where the Kingsland stand meets the Northam. It's 0-0.
The other plan, Dance, is when Southampton in possession, if they could try and keep the ball, because they just keep giving the ball away. One of the reasons for that is Onuachu, obviously the Southampton centre forward, he's only probably about 4 or 5 yards in front of his midfield players, so there's no out ball. Maatsen gets the ball on the left hand side, tries to go on the outside of Walker Peters. In the end, it's a good block from Walker Peters to give a corner for Villa over on their left.
Brighton lead Leicester by a goal to nil. A penalty from João Pedro at the Amex, one of the 2 other 3 o'clock Premier League games. Here on Talksport 2, it's Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0. Corner to Villa's work short. Now Ramsey picks it up, works it back out to Rashford on the left-hand side of 1-2 at the left-hand corner of the box. It comes back to Matty Cash, who hits it on his weaker left foot from the edge of the D. And you can probably tell from the reaction of the Southampton fans where that ended up. It wasn't the back of the net. Goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, that's dirty Cash, to be fair, because he should be getting a good contact with his left foot. He better not look down at the pitch and pretend that there's a bobble there. They worked it really well, actually, from the left-hand side, from Marcus Rashford. Come out to Matty Cash. Just got to make sure he gets his knee over the ball with his left foot. Just skies it high, wide and handsome over Ramsdale's crossbar.
10 minutes to half-time, 0-0 here. Also 0-0 at the City Ground between Forest and Everton. And Brighton 1-0 up on Leicester, as I just mentioned, through that João Pedro penalty. We'll have live football for you on Monday as well from the Premier League, Monday night game night. Bournemouth against Fulham and Hull against Coventry will also be on offer for you at the same time on Talksport 2 from the Championship. Kyle Walker-Peters showed too much of that to Yuri Tielemans, and the Belgian wins it back for Aston Villa inside his own half. Moving forward, now Walker-Peters is out of position. Maatsen moving down the left-hand side, works it infield to Jacob Ramsey. Ramsey fires into the feet of Asensio, going to take a drive from 20 yards and it's over the bar. That's the first proper shot we've seen in anger from either side with 9 minutes to half-time, and it came from Marco Asensio, but he couldn't keep it down. Goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, because Kyle Walker-Peters, again, sloppy in possession, got his pocket picked by Tielemans out to Maatsen, and then work it into Asensio in the inside right position. It's his unfavoured right foot dance again, just gets underneath it, smashes over Aaron Ramsdale's crossbar. It's just been, from Aston Villa's point of view, Dance, there's definitely a hangover here from the PSG game, because they're not playing with the intensity we normally see them, in possession or out of possession. It's made it easier for Southampton to defend in that 5-3-2 shape.
Well, for the first time this afternoon, Onuachu does what he's in the side for, and he's won the flick on from Ramsdale's goal kick, but nobody could profit from it. So Villa have it back. Ramsey shows the defender a clean pair of heels and moves towards the edge of the area, tries to roll it across the 18-yard line for Asensio, but Ogachukwu, wise to it, slid in and won the ball back for Southampton.
I think I'm going to give Haroldo Bellis my media pass, Dance, to get back into the stadium, because he's just completely
Oh, lovely run from Matías Fernández through the centre of the field. Tries to slip it into the path of Archer down the right-hand side of the box. Couldn't find it, and then Maatsen was clipped by Matías Fernández, who's going to get a yellow card, and that's not going to be a popular move at all from Thomas Bramall with the locals here at St Mary's. They do like Matías Fernández. I'm sure they'll want him to stay, but I think he's probably seen Perry Groves as an asset to be sold in the summer. Matías Fernández, he's booked.
Yeah, a bit of frustration from Fernandez as he just went into that inside right position, just trying to roll it out to Walker-Peters on the right-hand side, give the ball away. And to be fair, Dance, it was just his momentum that took him into Maatsen. And in the end, Thomas Bramall, the referee, thought, I haven't been involved for a while, so I'll just give him a yellow card. I don't think that was deserved, Dance, to be fair. So that was just momentum. He couldn't actually stop himself.
But he's the first player in the book this afternoon with 6.5 minutes of normal time to play in this first half. Harrogate 0, Grimsby 1 in League 2. Grimsby 3 points clear of Colchester. Grimsby in the final playoff spot in League 2. Kieran Green gives them the lead up at Wetherby Road. Morgan Rogers for Aston Villa back here at St Mary's at 0-0. Finds Cash. Infield it goes for Esri Konsa. Leicester have equalised at Brighton. Steffi Mavididi. That's Leicester's first goal in an eternity.
I think it's 8 games, isn't it?
Yep.
No Premier League team have ever gone 9 games without scoring, so it's a little bit of a record save there.
Well, VAR might rule it out yet. Rogers down the right-hand side of the box. Well, just the facts, as Erica used to say on Stranger Things. Just the facts.
I love the way you got a positive for Southampton get relegated by just saying be VAR free zone in the Championship.
And in the Championship today, you heard Leeds going back top of the table here on Talksport 2 at lunchtime. They beat Preston 2-1. Here's Tielemans for Aston Villa, going for goal, and it was straight to the grateful arms of Rashford as Tielemans struck it from just next to the left-hand corner of the penalty area. 0-0.
That's the first save that Aaron Ramsey had to make. Coming up to the 40th minute, say Rogers just playing it into Tielemans, getting onto his right foot. He's trying to bend it into Ramsdale's top left-hand corner. In the end, he just bends it straight to his midriff. Again, Southampton are just struggling to keep possession.
St Mirren 1, Ross County 1 in Scotland in the Scottish Premiership. The split can't be far away between the top 6 and the bottom 6 north of the border. Southampton splitting from the Premier League earlier than any other team has done. 7 games to go.
Just looking at Ramsey there on the left-hand side, he went to press, he looked round and he looked at Maatsen as if to say, you should be actually pressing behind me, and he's 35, 40 yards away from him.
Great defending against Riconsa, stepping in front of Onuachu to win the ball back, but Southampton have it again in the centre circle. Archer clips the ball out to Walker-Peters, right-hand side. Early ball, looking for the giant. Onuachu tries to head it goalwards. He was running out of room, and he headed it into the side netting. Great effort from Paul Onuachu, and he's ended up colliding with the advertising hoardings behind the goal at the chapel end, but he's okay. But that's a half chance for Southampton, 0-0.
And all you need is a patronising little pat on the head from Martin to say, unlucky big fella, nearly got on the end of that one. It was a good ball from Walker-Peters from that right-hand side.
Oh, good footing, not once but twice from the Southampton captain Jack Stevens to dispossess Asensio on halfway. That's what the Southampton fans want to see.
A little bit more energy, a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit of tenacity.
Well, they might sense that if they think that Villa are just going through the motions here, that they could be there for the taking.
Well, to be fair, Dance, they are, because out of position, Villa go into 4-4-2 with Rashford and Sensio. They're half-hearted in their press.
Oh, Fernandez with a poor ball, looking for Walker-Peters, but telegraphed it, and Ramsey won it back easily. Now the ball sent downfield for Rogers, right-hand corner of the Southampton box. Rashford inside him, hits it against Jack Stevens, and a goal kick has been given because it came off Rogers last of all. Rogers protests his innocence to the referees, having none of it, and we are heading up to 42 minutes played on Talksport 2. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
Well, Rogers has got to be a gambler there and see if he can get on the outside of Stevens. Again, Dance, there's no conviction in that at all, is there? When he's taken him on, he looks like he's doing a foot over, but he doesn't. To be fair to Stevens, he just keeps his eye on the ball. And then Rogers actually then has another toe poke, and he's the one who kicks it off.
Ramsdale will have the goal kick. Stockport equalise at Rotherham in League 1. Jack Diamond with the equaliser for the Hatters. I think automatic's gone for Stockport. It is about just consolidating their place ahead of the playoffs. And remember, every single playoff match, Championship, League One, League Two, and the 3 showpiece finals at Wembley at the end of May will be live and exclusive across the Talksport network. No other radio station can or will provide you with every single playoff game throughout all 3 divisions.
Do you want my name stat of the day?
You've always got one.
It's Rotherham's first visit to Edgeley Park since January 2011. Not lost in the last 5 games since then. The last time they lost was 1994, 1-0, when Wigfield was number 1. And it was on a Saturday afternoon, not a Saturday night.
Oh, God. Oh, have that, he says. He's happy. He's just punched the air. He's just punched the air.
It's all about timing. You're just a throw on the halfway line.
Southampton trying to get the timing right with this ball in from Manning from the left-hand side, but it's well defended at the near post by Esri Concert. Accrington Stanley 3-0 up on Tranmere. Wow. Third for Stanley. They're going to pull further clear of Morecambe. Tranmere was 7 points clear at the bottom, but they're not safe. Third goal kick from Josh Woods for Stanley at the Wham Stadium. Anana trying to release Rogers down the Villa inside right, but the ball skipped away from him through to Ramsdale. Heading to the last minute of normal time here at the end of a first half that's been low on chances and low on tempo. 0-0.
Yep, low on tempo, low on quality as well. You said there, Dance, out of the 2 managers, Simon Ruskov should be really happy if they can get in 0-0, because Southampton just concede too many goals. So from that point of view, we'd be really happy. Unai Emery will just want a lot more intensity from his Aston Villa side. Even there from Rodgers, again, it's just too narrow. If he comes out a little bit wider, then he can have a diagonal run to try and get in behind Manning. Onana's hit the ball too straight, goes through to Ramsdale quite easily.
Bristol Rovers 0, Exeter 2. Reece Cole. As it stands, Bristol Rovers have dropped into the bottom 4 of League One on goal difference. Burton, who are leading at the moment, are just outside the drop zone with the way that the goals are going this afternoon. Southampton clipped the ball into the Villa half, but I'm not sure who Ryan Manning was looked for, because Sulemana, Onuachu and Archer were all spectators watching the ball sail over their heads and through to the Villa back line. We're into 1 minute of minimum added time now on Talksport 2 at the end of this first half.
It's 1 minute of added time, Dance, and it went into sort of walking football there, because not one player on the pitch was actually running.
Now Manning looking to release Sulemana, who is at full speed, but back comes Rodgers into an unfamiliar right-back position to tidy up for Aston Villa. Plays the ball into his own area, and Archer almost dispossessed Concert, and they just have a little drag at each other. Don't think Concert was happy with the physicality of Archer trying to steal the ball off him as he got the pass away. Esri Concert down the right-hand side. One last chance in this first half for Aston Villa. Cash at pace clips the ball deep to the far post, and Walker-Peters will head it behind. There's going to be time for this corner for Aston Villa at the Northam stand end. 0-0.
Yeah, it was just Matty Cash just trying to dink it into the far post for Ramsey. Walker-Peters thought discretion was a better part of Valour there. Got a shout from Aaron Ramsdale just to head the ball out for a corner.
And it is Rashford's going to take it again. More histrionics from Austin McPhee down beneath us. Cash and Maatsen both standing unmarked at the edge of the area, but Rashford goes for the far post. Poor punch by Ramsdale, comes out to Asensio, back to the edge of the box. Cash with a drive, blocked by Southampton boots. It's pinballing around the area. Asensio again tries to play it across the face of goal, and it goes behind for a corner, but the corner will not be taken because the referee has decided that is it for the end of the first half. We're suddenly at the end of that 45 minutes. Villa up the tempo and had Southampton panicking at the back, but there haven't been many opportunities. I can't think of anything on target that Southampton have had in this first half. Onuachu with a header narrowly wide late on. It's hard to say whether this game is there for the taking for Aston Villa or indeed for Southampton, but it's very much on as even at half time. Chances at a premium at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
That was really diplomatic, I thought, Dance. It was a bit dull, really, wasn't it? I mean, I think it's fair to say that. I know it's our commentary game, but it wasn't the most exciting 45 minutes of football, Perry Groves.
No, not at all. Faye, we said, didn't we, before the kick-off, that it was a bit like a pre-season sort of atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's exactly as it is. It probably actually is more testimonial, because sometimes in pre-season you get excited, don't you, with new players, and the season's just starting. This one, honestly, there was times there that it was like walking football. Aston Villa's point of view, there's not enough width, because Southampton you could tell they've worked midweek, on the defensive shape with the 5-3-2, very, very narrow. There's not enough width from Aston Villa whatsoever. There's not a threat in behind. And I've got to say it again, I'm going to get off my chest, Faye, right? You have a centre forward in Marcus Rashford, who's taking free kicks from 50 yards out from the opposition's goal, and he's taking corners. That just blows my mind. One, that you'd want your centre forward doing it, number one. And two, that if you're centre forward, why would you want to?
You want to be in the box.
Exactly, less than the chance of you scoring. They make it so difficult sometimes, Faye, don't they? With algorithms, logarithms,
Football's
iPads.
Not complicated, Perry, is it?
It isn't. It's very, very simple. And say from the managerial point of view, I think Adam Lallana and Simon Rusty will be, pleased with the shape and haven't conceded. From Unai Emery's point of view, he'll be disappointed in the lack of intensity. And I know, obviously, they have had hangovers, from the Champions League game midweek against PSG, but they only have to step it up probably one more gear, and they win this game quite comfortably. And when you look at them, it's like they think, all right, we'll just do enough here. We can step it up in the second half. We'll probably win this 1 or 2-0. But say the first half was nowhere near Premier League intense football, nowhere near.
No, I have a bit in my document for this game. Big moments and incidents here. It's blank. It's been a very, very quiet 45 minutes. To be fair, it's been very, very quiet across the Premier League and the EFL. Goals at a premium today, that's for sure, and I'll run through the other half-time scores with you very shortly. But first, let's look ahead to tonight's Premier League action with Sky Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract on now. Like Arsenal versus Brentford live today. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Yeah, Arsenal-Brentford is the 5:30 kick-off tonight, and Ian Abrahams joins us to look ahead to it. How are you, Ian?
Yeah, very well, Faye. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I mean, the Emirates was absolutely shaking, wasn't it, on Tuesday night? What a performance against Real Madrid to give them a foot in the semi-finals of the Champions League. I'm assuming that Declan Rice is going to be on set-piece duty today, if he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, for a start, the fans here aren't just going to be basking in the sunshine today. They're still basking in that brilliant performance on Tuesday. If I was Mikel Arteta, which obviously I'm not, I would have wrapped up everybody who's going to play at the Bernabeu in Cottonwood and given them the afternoon off to go and have a club barbecue at London Colney training ground, because they're not needed here today. Arsenal can't win the title. They're too far off of Liverpool. They're going to finish second, third, absolute worst, but they've got a chance of making history in the Champions League, and that's now what surely this season for them has to all be all about. And it'll be, his team sheet will be very interesting at 4:15 to see just how many changes he makes and who does play again. If Deck does play again, then yes, I presume we will be on duty for free kicks.
I mean, they made changes, didn't they, against Everton last week, and it did work in their favour for sure. And even a 3-goal lead against a team like Real Madrid, you cannot take them for granted at the Bernabeu, that's for sure. But they do still need to make sure that they're cementing their place, albeit we know it's 5 now in terms of Champions League spots for English teams. There's a lot of teams still vying for that, and Arsenal have to make sure they get it. And Brentford just aren't a pushover.
They're not a pushover, but the one thing they are is inconsistent. That's the only consistent thing about Thomas Frank's side. For a lot of the season, we were including them and Bournemouth and maybe Fulham in with the chance of getting a European spot for next season and the romance that might bring. It's not going to happen now, not really, unless Brentford win all their remaining games this season. They came here last season and were beaten. I would be surprised if they make it easy for Arsenal today, but I would go for a narrow Arsenal win.
Probably their biggest challenge this season is keeping hold of Thomas Frank, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I hear all that, and I hear him being linked with Dortmund and other clubs abroad, and maybe Spurs fans want him as their manager. I look at it on a more kind of like, really, where is he going to go where A, it's a much bigger club than Brentford, and B, where he has the kind of control that he has at Brentford, because that is one of the reasons why he's been so successful at Brentford, because he has that control. He has the sort of owners that he has at Brentford who largely leave it to him to get on with. And I look around at the moment, I just don't see that many clubs. I don't hear that him and his wife are unhappy living in England. So I would be very surprised in a way if he left Brentford this summer, although I do hear, obviously, like you, that he's been linked with several jobs, both home and abroad.
That's just media links, though, isn't it? We're so terribly to blame for that, the media, of stoking up a narrative that might not necessarily be there when a manager has been really successul, and I'm sure Brentford fans would love to keep hold of him. Enjoy the game this afternoon, Ian.
Cheers, Faye. And you the second half at St Mary's.
Well, I hope so. If it's anything like the first 45 minutes, probably not. But fingers crossed for a more exciting second half. Right, that was a look ahead to this afternoon's Premier League action with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, just like Arsenal against Brentford, live today. Just search Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, like Arsenal versus Brentford live today. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. Second half of Southampton Aston Villa coming up next. Plus, we're going to bring you the other half-time scores from across the Premier League and the EFL.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, like Arsenal versus Brentford. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Game Day exclusive with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has all the vehicles your business needs, with the flexibility to rent for minutes or months.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
There's not many things as epic as jumping over a volcano in a monster truck, or even swinging over a crocodile-infested river. But 15% off when you spend £15 at Mackey's comes pretty close. Deal drop. Redeem all week, only in the app. 18 plus app only. One-time use per week until the 20th of April. Minimum spend and discount applied to food and drink items only. Participating restaurants, T's and C's apply.
Get set for spring with great Easter deals on big brands at Screwfix. Like the DeWalt 18-volt XR brushless impact driver bare unit, now only $54.99. And the Titan 140-bar pressure washer was $99.99, now only $79.99. That's a saving of £20. Don't miss out. These Easter deals must end on the 21st of April. Shop the Screwfix app, online or in store. Subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
You could skydive out of a plane. Or swim with sharks. You might even skinny dip in icy cold waters. Or you could get that inexpressible high. That guaranteed rush from finding just the thing you wanted, the thing you needed, at a great sale price. IKEA sale now on. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Hi, I'm Jeff Stelling. Get ready for a big night of live and exclusive Premier League football on Talksport.
Oh, that's magnificent!
magnificent! Monday night from 7. Get all the big match build-up ahead of full match commentary of Bournemouth versus Fulham at 8, live on Talksport.
How about that?
With your chance to have your say with a full-on fan phone-in on the sports bar from 10. It's a massive Monday night of big-ticket Premier League football exclusively on Talksport.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League.
This is Game Day. Halftime classifieds.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. Let's get the halftime scores from this afternoon's 3 o'clock game, starting with
Premier League.
Brighton 1, Leicester 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 0, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
Sky Bet Championship.
Cardiff 0, Stoke 0, Luton 0, Blackburn 0, Millwall 0, Middlesbrough 0, Portsmouth 0, Derby 0, QPR 1, Bristol City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Oxford United 0, Sunderland 0, Swansea 0, West Brom 1, Watford 0.
Sky Bet League 1.
Barnsley 2, Bolton 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Exeter 2, Burton 2, Huddersfield 0, Cambridge United 0, Charlton 1, Crawley 0, Leyton Orient 0, Lincoln 1, Shrewsbury 1, Northampton 0, Reading 0, Stockport 1, Rotherham 1.
Sky Bet League 2.
Accrington 3, Tranmere 0, Barrow 1, Walsall 0, Chesterfield 0, Fleetwood 0, Gillingham 0, MK Dons 0, Harrogate 0, Grimsby 2, Morecambe 0, Carlisle 1, Newport 0, Colchester 0, Port Vale 2, Bromley 0. So earlier on today, Leeds United went back to the top of the Championship on goal difference thanks to a crucial 2-1 win over Preston at Ellen Road. It was live on Talksport 2, and after the game, Leeds manager Daniel Farke was relieved to win the game, but frustrated his side weren't more clinical.
I'm proud of the boys' top performance today, of obviously top and priceless 3 points. Although we should have made our life much easier with scoring more goals. That was one of the, I think, highest expected goals games from us during the whole season. So if we don't achieve 100 goals this season, it's definitely one of the reasons why today, because we should have scored easily way more. But if you don't do this, then you have to make sure that you don't allow any chance for the opponent. Apart from one strike when Karl was there in the second half with a good save, we didn't allow anything after they scored. So pretty happy with this balance.
Yeah, they got away with it, Leeds United, and especially with Sheffield United losing their 3rd game in a row, a 2-1 defeat to bottom of the table Plymouth, who've given themselves a lifeline. Massive game live on Easter Monday, so that's a week on Monday between Burnley, who are 2nd on goal difference behind Leeds, and Sheffield United, who are in the playoffs but pushing for those automatic spots. That's a huge game, and it's live on Talksport at 5:30 kickoff. Very much looking forward to that. Looking forward to the second half at St Mary's as well, between Southampton and Aston Villa. Villa fully in control of the game so far, but just not able to get a goal at the minute and break down that deep Southampton defence. Substitutes are still out warming up at the moment. Players haven't yet come out at the tunnel. Our commentary team of Ian Danter and Perry Groves are there with us. Is it looking like there are going to be any changes, Perry or Dance, that you can see?
Well, Perry reckons there's going to be 3 changes with Villa. We were just talking about it after you picked up from us, and it's pretty much the first thing you said, wasn't it?
Did you eat a jelly baby just before you spoke to me as well?
I had a bit of a rush. It was a jelly baby rush, to be fair, and I've had a bit of chocolate fudge cake at half time as well.
I could tell.
But I'll be amazed if Unai Emery doesn't make substitutions at half time after 5-10 minutes. He has to be seen to be doing something. You got Ollie Watkins on the bench. You got John McGinn, who's someone who can go in midfield, and get everything ticking over. And just looked at all the stats. When they say about damn lies statistics, it says in the stats that Aston Villa had 12 shots in that first half.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
I think they've made that up to make it look, better than what the game's first half was.
3 of them on target.
I can remember one actually from Tielemans where he hit it from about 25 yards or so.
But I have to say, this is the most damning stat. Touches in the opposition box: 24 for Aston Villa, 3 for Southampton. 3 touches in the opposition box.
But they had one that they should have been a 4th that would have made it count, because Archer got away down the right-hand side of the area. Onuachu was in the perfect spot for the ball to be rolled across to him, and Archer kind of got caught in two minds, and the next thing you know, it's back in Martinez's arms and the danger's past.
Yeah, tepid applause for the Southampton players as they take to the field again. You know, they are playing for pride, relegated already this week after that defeat to Spurs, but maybe looking at some of their young players as well. Tyler Dibling's had a great season, hasn't he? And he's looks like he's standing on the touchline ready to come on. We shall find out. Let's rejoin our commentary team. Dance and Perry at St Mary's.
Thanks, Pete. Yes, indeed. The sought-after youngster Tyler Dibling. Who knows where he'll be playing his football next season? Almost certainly not in the red and white stripes of Southampton. And he's going to come on at the start of this second half, and he is replacing Paul Onuachu. So the giant Belgian, who did collide with the advertising hoardings just shy of the end of the first half. I don't know whether he's had any ill effects from that or it's merely a tactical switch from Simon Rusk. But Dibbling on, Onuachu off. And Southampton in their red and white stripes, black shorts and white socks, get us back underway. On Talksport 2, they're heading for the Northam stand in the second half, and they're on the attack early with Leslie Ogachukwu trying to ride a couple of challenges, forcing it through to Archer, but he can't win the challenge at the edge of the area, and Villa have it back. I'll run you through the lineups at the moment. Villa are in their change strip of the very dark blue shirts with white shorts and dark blue socks, little horizontal white trim on those jerseys, and they're attacking the chapel end to our left-hand side, and where the chapel meets the Kingsland stand, that's where the travelling Villa contingent are, in that far corner opposite us.
Yeah, so Cameron Archer, he'll go more central. Tyler Dibbling will come out on this right-hand side.
It's a 5-4-1, effectively.
Yeah, when they're out of possession. I think, obviously, from Southampton fans' point of view, they're delighted to see Tyler Dibbling come on, because when he gets the ball, he's one of those players, he likes taking the fullback on. He's got that little bit of flair and imagination.
Cash down the right-hand side for Aston Villa at the start of this second half. He's level with the edge of the penalty area, rolls it back for Amadou Onana. Tielemans, I wonder whether we were going to see him at the start of the second half, given that he hurt his ankle through a challenge with Ogachukwu during the first half, but Tielemans still out there. I'll run you through the lineups very shortly. Ball's with Ezri Konsa, just on the edge of the centre circle. Fired in field by Onana for Asensio. Rodgers shows great strength at the edge of the area to win it back. Still going, draws a defender who gets sat down on the seat of his pants, but then the shot comes in from Maatsen, and it's blocked by Dibbling. Back defending, but Villa still have it. Onana is going to go for goal from 30 yards out. Great shot, parried by Ramsdale, and straight to a Southampton player. Really fiercely hit from Amadou Onana for Aston Villa, but Ramsdale equal to it. But that's got the Villa fans going in that far corner, 0-0.
Yeah, good strike from Onana. Fully 25 yards out, just getting onto his right foot. Actually, I think that Aaron Ramsdale, he should be taking in that in dance. I know he's parried it away from the goal, which he obviously has to do, but I think he could make that save, have soft hands and catch it. Corner for Aston Villa on the left-hand side.
Where the chapel meets the Itchin, down to our left-hand side here at St Mary's. We're sat towards the back of the Itchin stand, looking on as Rashford takes the corner, goes through everybody on the 6-yard line. It was hit deep to the far post. And that's just going to wind Perry Groves up even more that Rashford's still on corners.
I'm not going to mention it anymore. I'm okay. I've done a bit of yoga at half-time.
Bit of pilates,
yep,
as we say in Birmingham. In goal, Ramsdale for Southampton. Walker-Peters, Harwood, Bellis, Stevens, Bednarek and Manning. Then Ogachukwu, Fernandez, Sulemana, Dibbling and Archer. For Villa, it's still Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Mings, Maatsen, Onana, Tielemans, Rodgers, Asensio, Ramsey and Rashford. Here is Onana, right-hand corner of the area, tries to float it across to Ramsey, lets it run across his body. Maatsen runs onto the loose ball and hits it against Harwood Bellis, and it goes out for a throw on this near side to Aston Villa, 0-0.
Yeah, it's a good block from Harwood Bellis. He said it's coming onto Maatsen's left foot on the edge of the 18-yard box. Harwood Bellis makes sure he just puts his body in front of it, but Villa recycle possession, and Tielemans just smashes the ball high over the crossbar from 20 yards.
Grimsby did have a second goal right on half-time in their game at Harrogate, so your old team Colchester's task of trying to reel them in for that final playoff spot in League Two is getting tougher, Perry.
I think we need a goal from Rodney Parade. So I think Grimsby will go 4 points ahead of Colchester in that 7th position.
Every goal matters at this point. Only 4 games after today for most in League Two, or indeed anywhere in the EFL.
Just looking at the subs bench, obviously, for Aston Villa, if I was Ollie Watkins, I would be warming up constantly in front of Unai Emery, behind Unai Emery. I'll be doing press-ups, sit-ups, just to say, are you going to put me on in a minute?
Matis Fernandes improvises a ball out to the right-hand side for Kyle Walker-Peters, but two Villa players around him. One of them is Ramsey, takes it off his toe, but then Dibbling steps in. Quick feet from the youngster as he moves infield, but he has the ball snaffled away from him by Tielemans. Now Asensio driving over the halfway line, out towards the right-hand side for Villa. Steps inside Ogachukwu, but that allows Manning to slide in, or Stevens rather, to win it back. Crawley 1, Leyton Orient 0. A penalty for Junior Katina puts Crawley ahead against Leyton Orient. Crawley 6 points adrift of safety. The O's just 5 points off 6th place in League One. And that's going to be a big goal for Crawley if they can hang on to that towards the foot of the table. Birmingham City confirmed as champions of that division this afternoon, with Wrexham failing to beat Wigan. Wycombe back within a point of Wrexham, though, as they won their game this afternoon. 81 points to Wrexham's 82. Charlton on 76, but losing at the moment. Rather 1-0 up, should I say, Charlton. Here's Matty Cash for Aston Villa, finding Asensio just inside the area right-hand side, tries to roll it along the 18-yard line, but couldn't find Onana. Asensio gets it back, rolls it down the right-hand side of the box for Morgan Rogers. Being held up by Stevens, tries to twist and turn away from Stevens and get the cross in. Now protecting the ball down by the corner flag. Still got it, Morgan Rogers, did brilliantly. Cash finds Asensio again. Right-hand corner of the box, has to roll it back into a square into the middle of the half. And now Tyrone Mings is going to go for goal, and it's well wide by a good 3 or 4 yards of Ramsdale's left-hand post. Goal kick. That goal for Crawley will mean they're only 5 points adrift from safety. Burton Albion are winning 2-0 at the moment this afternoon in their home game against Huddersfield Town. 0-0 here at St Mary's.
Yeah, just looking at Aston Villa there, that was just a sign from Tyrone Mings that they just run out of ideas. You've got the centre half, who's 30 yards from goal, trying to pin Southampton back. Asensio does really well, rolls it out to him, and then what he's got to do is come out once more again to Maatsen on this left-hand side and try and move that Southampton back five around. If you're in that back five, you're thinking, that's Andy, their centre-half's got the ball when he's going to shoot from 30 yards and he ain't going to score.
Not many goals around in the Championship today, and in the as-it-stands table, it's still Plymouth, Luton and Cardiff who are bottom three, although Plymouth won today against Sheffield United to go within 2 points of safety before the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Leyton Orient just equalised at Crawley. Charlie Kelman. Here's Villa coming forward and winning a corner as Morgan Rogers hits it against Manning. So it'll be a corner for Villa right in front of their spectators in that far corner of the stadium, 0-0.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers just trying to go on the outside of Manning, getting his cross in. Good block from Manning. Corner for Aston Villa over their right-hand side, which Asensio will take with his left foot. And even though he's not taking the corner, Marcus Rashford has still gone out there to take a short corner.
Leave it. He's received the short corner. Works it back to Ramsey. Now Rashford again down the right-hand side of the box. Feints to cross. Tries to nutmeg the defender. He's got through it. Tries to pull it back in front of goal, and it's just the wrong side of Tyrone Mings. Brilliant run from Rashford. Managed to get somehow to the edge of the area. Nutmeg Cameron Archer on his way through, but then tried to pull it back. And Conser couldn't get the touch. Jacob Ramsey wins the ball down the right-hand side when everybody seemed to have stopped waiting for a whistle that never came. And the ball stumped out of play. This is a massive goal at the bottom. Luton 0, Blackburn 1. The Japanese striker Yuki Ohashi has put Blackburn in front. Remember, Blackburn on a woeful run of form. No win or clean sheet in 8 for Valerian Ismail. But Luton would stay second bottom, 40 points. 3 adrift of safety with Derby and Cardiff both drawing 0-0 at the moment.
Blackburn have never won away in the league against Luton. 22 games.
Faye won't want to hear that.
Drawn 9, lost 13.
She won't want to hear that.
There's time for recovery. Keep the faith, Faye. Keep the faith.
Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0. 53 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Here at St Mary's, where the sunshine is now a bit more hazy than bright. Jacob Ramsey, left-hand side. works his way in field, keeps it away from Dibbling. Now Conser works it out to Cash on the right-hand side for the visitors. Picked up by Onana, slides it into the right-hand side of the box for Morgan Rogers. Stevens at his back, drives for the byline, wins a corner. Great work, Morgan Rogers. Cannot get the ball off him. He's a really good specimen as well. 0-0, corner kick Villa.
Yeah, it's quick feet from Morgan Rogers. Gets himself to the byline on that right-hand side. Stevens just following him over, just tried to do a little Cruyff turn and get the other side of him. To be fair, Stevens was moaning that Morgan Rogers had hold of his shirt, gets the block in, corner for Aston Villa on their right.
Again taken short to Rashford, further back along the touchline to Ramsey. Now Cash picks it up in the centre of the half, chips the ball into the Southampton penalty area. Stevens heads it half clear. Matis Fernandes, bit wasteful, gave it up to Ian Matson. Left-hand corner of the box, now driving for the byline. Gets away from Fernandes, goes down, and the referee gives a goal kick. And no foul either way.
Dan, to think that'll be checked by VAR because Matson just trying to get himself on the outside, going down the left-hand side. Fernandes has tracked him back, and just as Matson gets himself into the penalty box, I think it's Matson's tripped himself up, where his training foot has hit his standing foot. Fernandes does well in the end, just make sure he just pulls his arms away. Good decision from Thomas Bramwell, the referee.
You're listening to Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, like Arsenal, Brentford. That's at 5:30 today. Just search Now Sports. Ian Dancer and Perry Groves with you at St Mary's. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Villa have Southampton have a goal kick. Perry Groves is pointing a lot.
No, this is just turned in basically to forwards against defence, with obviously Aston Villa dominating possession. Southampton very rarely foray into Aston Villa's half.
Well, here's Jan Bednarek finding Jack Stevens across to Harwood Bellis. Just trying to hold the ball up, then hits the ball down the right-hand side. For a moment, Walker Peters had got him behind Matson, but then after the ball bounced, it allowed Matson to get goal side and roll it back to Emi Martinez, who clears the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Rashford backing into Harwood Bellis, looking for a free kick that didn't come. And it stays 0-0 on Talksport 2.
Really good play earlier from Harwood Bellis. Just a simple ball dance. In the old days, that was just a channel ball, wasn't it? Just easing it down the right-hand touchline for Walker Peters to try and get in behind Matson. Matson did really well and tracked his run.
Crawley were leading, now they're losing. Crawley won Leyton Orient 2. A second of the afternoon for Charlie Kelman. So maybe Leyton Orient's bid in League One for a playoff place is not quite done yet. As things stand, they'll only be 3 points off the top six. They're winning. Reading are drawing at the moment in their game this afternoon in League One. They're at Northampton. That's still goalless. So Orient not done yet in the race for a place in the Championship. Here's Tyler Dibbling for Southampton, substitute. Came on at the start of the second half. Keeping possession down the right-hand side of the Villa box. Rolls it back to Fernandes. Fernandes sends a cross in looking for Sulemana. Dealt with well enough by the Villa back line, but the clearance goes straight back to the red and white striped shirt. Sulemana finds Manning, left-hand corner of the box. First time cross, just over the head of Dibbling, who tried to rise 6 yards out. Cleared away by Villa. Ramsey looks for Tielemans infield centre of the half, and loads of room for Onana to then drive over halfway as he receives a neat pass from Tielemans. Strong run downfield from Onana, slips it into Asensio inside the area, and Stevens slides in and puts it out for a corner kick. Swift counter-attack from Villa, 0-0.
Yeah, Southampton getting caught on the counter-attack because they committed four bodies beyond the ball. Just comes into Tielemans, just tries to roll in Rogers on that right-hand side, then to Asensio. Asensio just tries to cut back onto his left foot, gets deflected for a corner for Aston Villa over on their right.
And this time, Marcus Rashford wants no part of any short corner. He's in the 18-yard box. Asensio is going to strike this. Left-footed in-swinger. Whips into the near post, and Bednarek heads it behind for another corner. Very, very close. Plenty went up, and it came off the forehead of Bednarek. Brighton Hove Albion 2, Leicester 1. João Pedro again with another penalty. And Chesterfield lead Fleetwood by a goal to nil. Ryan Colclough, and that's going to bring Chesterfield closer to the likes of Colchester and Grimsby in the League 2 playoff race. Burton 3-0 up on Huddersfield, going out of the bottom four in the League 1 standings as things stand. And Carlisle have a second at Morecambe in the battle of the bottom two. Terrell Thomas Latest corner for Aston Villa at the Chapel end. Rashford to take it, right-footed in-swinger. Pack 6-yard box. In it comes, flicked onto the near post. Really well by Tielemans, who had to jump back to get the header in, but it went well wide for a Southampton goal kick at 0-0. Perry Groves.
Yeah, it was a decent corner actually. Marcus Rashford making sure that he misses Kyle Walker-Peters on the near post, but Tielemans just made his run a little bit too early, meant he had to dive backwards to try and redirect it, and just redirected it high over Aaron Ramsdale's crossbar. They're trying to play out from the back, and Aston Villa on the press.
But they play through it, or play around it, to right wing back Kyle Walker-Peters. Double change coming up for Southampton. Will Smallbone and Ross Stewart are going to be on shortly for the Saints. Now, long ball downfield for Cameron Archer, now playing as a lone striker. Was in a 2 with Onuachu in the first half. But it's a 5-4-1 for Southampton. Now, here's the left-hand-sided player. Kamaldeen Sulemana gets into the area, tries to curl a right-footed shot, Goals, and gets right underneath it. That was like a pitching wedge for Justin Rose around the apron of the green at Augusta. Went way, way high. Here's the double substitution, and the players coming off for Southampton. Well, Cameron Archer is making way for Ross Stewart, so both of the first choice strikers this afternoon have now been taken off, and Kamaldeen Sulemana is making way for Will Smallbone. Ross Stewart's not been the luckiest with injuries since his move from the red and white stripes of Sunderland to Southampton. The man they call the Loch Ness Drogba. Game day phone-in with Jason Cundy and Jermaine Pennant tonight on Talksport 2, straight after the commentary here on Talksport 2. You can either flick over to Talksport and get in touch with Jason and Jermaine, 03717223344, or straight after this commentary we'll be off up north to Warrington Wolves against Hull FC. What a great start the two Hull clubs have made to the Super League this season. Warrington against Hull, live commentary on Talksport 2 from Rugby League Super League from 5:15 this evening. And then we've got live football for you tomorrow on Talksport 2 from Wembley Stadium, the Football League Trophy Final, Birmingham City against Peterborough United. Ollie Klink will be your host, and I'll be commentating alongside Adrian Clark. The final kicks off at 3 o'clock. Both those sides looking to win the EFL trophy for a record equaling third time. Swansea lead at Sunderland by 1-0. Ben Cabango. I think Sunderland are already resigned to the playoffs, and Swansea got some very good results lately to pull themselves clear of trouble. Actually getting towards the top 10 are Swansea, the way they're playing. And Burton Albion 3-0 up. It's Roman Burrell who got that third goal for the Brewers. Carlisle got that second goal at Morecambe Tyrrell Thomas. Stockport 2-1 up on Rotherham. That's a big goal for Brad Hills up from the back to get a second goal for League One Stockport. Free kick to Southampton just inside the Villa half of the field. Still Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 0, and Brighton 2-1 up against Leicester. 2 penalties from Joao Pedro. So a free kick for the Saints. Villa holding a line ahead of the edge of the D. In it comes into the area. Well, it dropped over Matson's head and almost landed at the feet of Ross Stewart. Put back across goal by Bednarek. Good defending by Esri Konsa. Smallbone, though, onto the loose ball for Southampton. Ollie Watkins is going to be on in a moment. I nearly gave it to Wally Watkins there, just like our dear old friend Nigel Pearson. In comes the cross from the left-hand side, of header from Harwood. Bellis got right underneath that. Proper Toblerone head that, and that goes out of play for a Villa goal kick. Doniel Marlin's also going to be on for Aston Villa. Double change en route as we tick round past 63 minutes at St Mary's, where we still await the deadlock to be broken. Perry Groves.
Yeah, well, Southampton's point of view, obviously Ross Stewart has come on, given a bit more physical presence up front. That means Fernandes had to go over to the left-hand side of the 4. Obviously Tyler Diblin on this right-hand side, and Smallbourne's gone in the centre midfield for fresh legs. But I can't believe it's taken Unai Emery coming up to maybe 64 minutes to make a substitution, because his Aston Villa team, they need some energy, they need some inspiration. So it looks like that Marlon and Ollie Watkins are going to come on.
West Brom 2, Watford 0. More goals for West Brom, and they need them desperately. Mikey Johnston gets the second at the Hawthorns. Aston Villa coming forward again at 0-0. Yuri Tielemans out to the left-hand side, and Maatsen level with the edge of the 18-yard line. Back in field to the Belgian Tielemans. Rashford gives it back to Tielemans again, left-hand corner of the box. He was caught late, Rashford, as he released the ball. And a free kick in kind of Declan Rice territory for Aston Villa. About 30 yards out to the left of centre, and Rashford's going to fancy this, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a nice little give and go with Yuri Tielemans and Marcus Rashford. Then Marcus Rashford just enticed and late challenging from Ross Stewart, as you said there. Got Rashford and Asensio and Tielemans over the ball.
I've had a panicked message from Faker others. Blackburn down to 10 players. Christy Montgomery sent off.
Told you, Faye, keep the faith. Blackburn have never won at Luton.
But they are 1-0 up at the moment, but they are now down to 10 players. Free kick for Villa. So Southampton's wall, and it's a 3-man, nearly 4-man wall at the moment. They're just deciding just how many to put in there. Is at the edge of the penalty area.
I hope Austin Whitford has got his pad out, because he's telling us where they're going to go rather than telling Rashford or Asensio what free kick to take.
There's a 3-man Villa wall in front of the Southampton wall. Rashford goes for goal, and it's well over the top. Rashford just paces towards the edge of the area. Ramsdale knew he had it covered. Goal kick to Southampton, and here comes that double change with 25 minutes to go for Aston Villa, and that is Rashford's last involvement. That free kick sent over the bar. So a straight swap up front. Watkins for Rashford, and the other change, Marlon is coming on for Jacob Ramsey. So not a great deal of change to have Villa go about their business. What that does mean that Morgan Rogers is now going to play on the left-hand side of the three in behind what is now Ollie Watkins. And that means that Marlon can go out to his favoured right-hand side.
See, Dan, I don't see why he don't give Morgan Rogers a chance centrally. You know, Ben Asensio maybe out to the left, let Morgan Rogers go and stand there, because Asensio was sort of flattered to deceive in the 10 position. It was really funny, actually, the Marcus Rashford free kick, and Aaron Ramsdale just had a look at him and would say, have a day off, mate, you're not beating me from there. You could just tell that little wry grin. But the thing is, with Aston Villa, Dance, like, you know, it's been very laboured from them. They're going to try and get themselves in the Champions League positions. You know, there needs to be more intensity, more urgency, more energy.
There's a ball over the top looking for Ross Stewart, well defended by Matty Cash with a downward header. It's currently Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 for the latest odds head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Southampton at 13-2 to win the game. Aston Villa 6-5 on, the draw 6-4. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org. Marlon sent a cross into the Southampton box, but it went beyond everybody in a dark blue Villa shirt. And Walker Peters can retrieve the loose ball.
See, the problem with Southampton is when they get everybody behind the ball, Kyle Walker Peters looked up there as if to say, I need an out ball, and Ross Stewart is only sort of 5 yards in front of him, but he's central. So if they're going to play the 4-5-1, why don't you say to Ross Stewart, you just stay up front, you just go and engage Concert and Ming, so when we do get the ball, then we've got an out ball. Do you know what I mean? We can get ourselves a bit further up the pitch.
0-0. Big goal in the Championship for Millwall, who lead Middlesbrough by a 0-0 at the Den. Camille Negley for the London Lions, who are edging in on a playoff place, just 2 points behind the playoffs. Here's Watkins into the area. Bednarek slides in and gives away a penalty. Watkins has stayed down. Suddenly he was in down the left-hand side of the box. Jan Bednarek slid in to try and make a challenge. Watkins went over. Thomas Bramall thought about it just for a moment and then pointed to the spot. Penalty kick to Aston Villa.
That's that threat in behind with the pace of Ollie Watkins. A brilliant ball from Morgan Rogers, Dance, in the inside left position. Just rolled it into his path. Watkins did brilliantly because he just got his right foot, just took it away from Bednarek. He knows that Bednarek is going to slide in and he's going to foul him, and he actually enticed the challenge in. Bednarek went for it. 100% it's a penalty. Thomas Brown referee, perfect decision. Brilliant ball from Morgan Rogers. That's the one bit of quality, Dance, we've seen in this game so far, and it's taken us to 68th minute.
And it's a yellow for Jan Bednarek as well for that injudicious challenge on Watkins. But Watkins isn't taking the penalty. Marco Asensio is. 8 goals in his 12 appearances so far A straight run up for the left-footed Asensio up against Ramsdale for the chance to give Villa the lead with just over 20 to go. Referee blows his whistle. 3 or 4 pace run up for Asensio, who now jogs up to the ball, hits it left-footed, save by Ramsdale, put behind for a corner by Stevens, and that's cheered by the Southampton fans like they've just gone 5-0 up. 0-0 corner kick.
Brilliant save from Aaron Ramsdale. It was telegraphed from Asensio. He started off his runs, if he didn't go straight, then he goes to his right-hand side. Obviously he's hitting it with his left foot. Because of his run-up dance, he looks at Aaron Ramsdale, hoping he's going to pick himself. There's only one place he can put it, and that's down to Aaron Ramsdale's left-hand side. Dives full length. Brilliant save from Aaron Ramsdale. It was the men that stare at goats. Who was going to move first? Ramsdale didn't move. Asensio then didn't know what to do. Tried to whip it. Brilliant save from Aaron Ramsdale.
Well, VAR was just checking to make sure that Ramsdale hadn't moved off his goal line, but that's been checked and cleared, and no problem with Ramsdale's save. Meanwhile, Port Vale have just scored 2 quick goals. They're going to go top in style of League 2 this afternoon. 4-0 they lead Bromley. Lawrence alive with a hat-trick. Corner for Villa, into the near post, just evades Tyrone Mings at the near post. Desperate clearance from Southampton, but that's woken the crowd up as well inside St Mary's. 20 minutes to go, 0-0. Aston Villa have had a penalty save. Chesterfield 2-0 up on Fleetwood now, trying to close in on the League 2 playoffs. Ashley Palmer with the second, and it was George Byers that got Port Vale's third against Bromley before Talai completed his hat-trick. How about that for Darren Moore? He's had some rough times as a manager, should never have been sacked by West Brom, but there he is on the verge of winning the League 2 title for Port Vale.
And it's brilliant to see one of football's good guys, dancing, nice guys, be successful.
Daniel Marlin for Aston Villa at 0-0. Getting down the right-hand side of the box, he's fouled. There were 2 players on him. Fernandez has got to be careful, he's on a yellow card, and it was him and Manning that were closing him down, and Marlin was fouled down the right-hand side of the box, and Villa have another free kick. 0-0, 19 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was unnecessary there from Ryan Manning, because Marlin's going nowhere. He's on the byline facing the Aston Villa fans, and then Ryan Manning gives him an out, just hooks his standing foot away. Now it's a free kick and a dangerous position for Aston Villa over on their right-hand side.
Massive goal in the Championship. I'll tell you about it in a moment, because it's a free kick to Aston Villa. Asensio down the right-hand side of the penalty area. We were about 5 or 6 yards from the dead ball line. 3 Villa players waiting at the edge of the area. Cash now runs in to the penalty box. Asensio lifts it to the far post. Ramsdale punches it straight up in the air. Watkins picks up the loose ball down the left-hand side of the box. Maatsen swings in across, headed away by Dibbling. Comes out to Cash in the centre of the half. Sent back out to Asensio on the right. Infield to Tillemans at the centre of the Southampton half. Quick ball to find Maatsen. Left-hand corner of the area. First time cross, just evades Mings again. He's gone up for so many headers, and they've just evaded him all afternoon. Tyrone Mings, and Southampton bring the ball clear. Fernandez stays down. Referee says play on. As Southampton have possession, and now Dibbling thinks about putting the ball out of play, but then sees that his mate is going to be all right, and then gets dispossessed by Asensio by dwelling on the ball a little too long. I was saying massive goal in the Championship, 2 massive goals. Derby County had taken the lead against Portsmouth, Jerry Yates, to get themselves further clear of the bottom 3. They were 4th bottom, but then Portsmouth equalised through Rob Atkinson. And then Watkins off the underside of the crossbar and in! Oh, what a goal, Ollie Watkins! Long ball over the top. Got Watkins in behind. Lobbed it over Ramsdale. It hit the underside of the crossbar, dropped just over the line, and then finally nestled in the side netting in the bottom corner. And having just seen a penalty saved, Ollie Watkins to the rescue for Aston Villa from the subs bench. The Southampton players complain, but Ollie Watkins gives Aston Villa the lead with 17 minutes to go to further condemn Southampton here at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Villa 1.
Dance, the Aston Villa players going to celebrate in front of the Aston Villa fans over in the far corner. Ollie Watkins pointing at himself, saying, that's what I do. Brilliant run from Ollie Watkins. Again, that threat in behind the Southampton defence. As the ball drops over his shoulder, he just looks at it on the volley. It's full stretch with the outside of his right foot. Ramsdale comes at the edge of 6-yard box, just easy back over Aaron Ramsdale. It's a brilliant ball from Yuri Tillemans. Again, it's that threat from Ollie Watkins. He knows that Ramsdale's coming out, underside the crossbar, bounces over. Fantastic quality from Ollie Watkins, and that's what he does.
What a ball, Yuri Tillemans, to get Watkins in behind his 14th Premier League goal of the season. And it is Southampton 0, Aston Villa 1, and that goal puts Villa 5th, going above Chelsea and Newcastle onto 54 points, just one behind Manchester City in the top 4, and only 4 behind Forest, who are still 0-0 with Everton. Now Villa have got their tails up. John Marlin gets away down the right-hand side of the area. Rodgers looks for a pullback. He looked in front of goal for Asensio, but it was turned behind for a corner kick. Suddenly, Villa have woken up and they have the lead.
Brilliant defending from Harwood Bellis, just making sure he stands in the 6-yard box. Good play from Marlon down this right-hand side, just skips past Stevens, who just goes to the ground far too easy. Marlon just trying to roll it across the 6-yard box. Good defending from Harwood Bellis at near post. Corner for Aston Villa over on their right-hand side.
Stockport 3, Rotherham 1. Kyle Wootton with the third for the Hatters. Bristol Rovers get a goal back against Exeter. 2-1 to Exeter. But Bristol Rovers will be in the League One bottom 4 at the end of the day, the way things are at the moment. Tillemans with this right-wing corner for Aston Villa. Up goes Onana, tries to get his head, and it drops in the centre of the penalty area, and Ogachukwu just thumps it downfield. Nobody for Southampton on halfway, so instead it's Tillemans who picks it up again right-hand side. You're listening to Southampton 0, Villa 1 on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Do you think Ollie Watkins might be starting against PSG by any chance?
Something in my water tells me he will.
Well, if I was him, I mean, he's been brilliant. He's got the penalty, obviously being brought down by Bednarek. Essentially, missed it. Then he's running behind, got a fantastic goal, stretching on the volley of his right foot over Ramsdale. I'd have been seething midweek by not being brought on earlier when Villa was struggling, and I'd have been seething today that I didn't start, and he's proved the point.
Walker-Peters clipped by Maatsen, free kick to Southampton. Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist reunited on breakfast on Monday morning, and on Wednesday Alan Brazil and Ali McCoist will be on breakfast. Ali will be in Madrid ahead of Arsenal's second leg, and Carlo Ancelotti's former assistant at Real Madrid, Paul Clement, who you might remember being Derby manager, he's going to be guesting on the show on Wednesday morning. Penny for the thoughts of Marcus Rashford as he sits.
Oh, we'll be dying for Ollie Watkins, obviously because he's a team player. You want to see the centre forward who places you get a penalty and, looking at the moment, score the winning goal.
1-0 to Villa here, 2-2 at the Amex. Brighton 2, Leicester 2. Calabacoli up from the back to equalise for Leicester. Southampton trying to get the ball to Will Smallbone. Another goal at Fratton Park, and Derby have gone back in front. Atkinson scored at both ends now, scored the equaliser for Pompey. Now it's an own goal, and Derby back in front and pulling clear of danger as things stand. Now here's Tyler Dibbling out to this right hand side for the Saints, looking to try and work the ball back to Ryan Manning. Shovelled out to the left hand side, and Jack Stevens with a cross into the box, deflects away from danger. Smallbone heads it down for Matias Fernandez. Fernandez swirling cross too far ahead of anybody in red and white stripes, goes behind on the full for a Villa goal kick. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Oxford 1. Sam Long, big goal for Oxford. They're going to move on to 48 points and go 5 clear of the drop zone. So the bottom 3 are still Plymouth, Luton, Cardiff on 40, 40 and 43 points respectively. Hull on 44, not playing until Monday night against Coventry. You can hear that game live on Talksport 2 here. It's an exclusive 8 o'clock whilst Bournemouth against Fulham is live on Talksport for Monday night game night. And I was at Coventry on Wednesday when they snatched a late winner against Portsmouth, and Portsmouth are only 2 points above the drop zone, losing at Fratton Park. Getting really tight down there. Barnsley 3-0 up on Bolton. Fabio Jao with a second for him and a third for Barnsley. And Bolton are out of the top 6 in League Two and potentially missing out on the playoffs. Having got to the final last year and lost to Oxford.
Yep, just had a little bit of dip in form at the wrong time.
Well, here's Morgan Rogers picking the ball up centrally for Aston Villa. Rolls it into Marlon inside the area. Wonderful goal. Driven in brilliantly by Daniel Marlon from inside the box. That should set the seal on all 3 points for Aston Villa. They'll go back above 2 sides in the Premier League table and set themselves up in good heart for the second leg against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday. Daniel Marlon with a cracking drive, low, hard and true, past Ramsdale. Game over. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 2.
That's Marlon's second goal in a week, and it's Morgan Rogers in that 10 position dance, just picking it up, getting himself on the half turn, then gets his head up, sees that Marlon's made a really good run on the right hand side. Good build up play from Aston Villa, and it's whether Morgan Rogers can pick the right pass. Exactly can with his left foot, puts it to Marlon on the edge of the 18-yard box, lets it roll across his body with his right foot. He smashes it across Aaron Ramsdale, low down to his right hand side, buries it in the far corner. That is game done and dusted. Villa now can ease off and look forward to the PSG game during the week, but it's a goal of the utmost quality for Aston Villa from Marlon to put them 2-0 up.
His third goal in Aston Villa colours. Daniel Marlon, he was at the Arsenal Academy in his very early days. Made his name at PSV before moving to Borussia Dortmund, from where Villa bought him. Great finish, really emphatic. His fans leaving in the 3 stands around us, where Southampton fans, some of them, not all, it's not a mass exodus, but some have seen enough with 10 minutes to go. There's going to be 2 more changes coming on for Southampton. And they're going to bring on Yukinari Sugawara, and young Jay Robinson from the academy is going to get a run out as well. Ball's back with Aaron Ramsdale. And yet again, Southampton failed to add to their points tally. And that unwanted record still looms large ahead of them, Perry Groves.
Yeah, Dan, well, we said first half, they were well structured in their defensive shape. But when you're playing at home, you have to go and put the opposition under a little bit more pressure. And with its, intensity off the ball, you go and close down. As the game's gone on, it's got a bit more elongated. That meant that Aston Villa players are getting a bit more space. And Morgan Rogers was in acres of space, and we said that about maybe be better off him going in the 10. Exactly what he did. Picked the right pass from Marlon, smashed across Ramsdale. Game's done and dusted. But again, I saw Southampton last Sunday. They went down really without a fight. And in this game today, they've never ever looked like they was going to actually go and try and win the game. It was all about damage limitation, and they couldn't limit any damage whatsoever, even though Aston Villa missed a penalty. In the end, it's going to be a very comfortable win for Aston Villa.
Just one change in the end for Southampton. Looked like young Jade Robinson was going to come on, but in the end it's Yukinari Sugawara who's come on for Ryan Manning. But there's a double change for Aston Villa, and they're going to bring on John McGinn and Andres Garcia. Meantime, the ball's back with Martinez, who's being closed down by Ogachukwu, but managed to get it clear. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 2. Port Vale 5, Bromley 0. They're going top in style. As I said, Ryan Crowsdale with a 5th. West Brom 2, Watford 1. Watford get one back through Musa Sissoko. Bolton get a goal back at Barnsley. Barnsley 3, Bolton 1, Aaron Collins. Chesterfield 3-0 up on Fleetwood now. Paddy Madden, the veteran. And here comes Southampton trying to do something about yet another home defeat. Dibbling rolls the ball across from right to left for Jack Stevens. Now ball down the left-hand side of the area from Walker Peters, who's out on that left-hand side now, with Sugawara coming in as a right wing-back. Cleared away by Aston Villa. McGinn and Garcia wait for their chance to be introduced. And again, it's the Villa fans you can hear in the far corner out singing the home fans quite comfortably.
Yeah, so the Southampton fans that are still in stadium here at St Mary's obviously are resigned that their team's going to obviously be playing in Championship next season. Probably come in here hoping, for a little bit more fight, a little bit more passion, but we just haven't seen it. So they're going to go down without a whimper. And dance on this evidence, there's every chance they could go down with the least amount of points.
Here's Ian Maatsen for Aston Villa, finding Morgan Rogers down the left-hand side of the box. Maatsen again, level with the 18-yard line. Just casually plays it back to Mings. And then he plays a 1-2 with Yuri Tielemans.
But this is one of those games that, you know, if it was a friendly and the referee said to both teams, you fancy just like knocking it on the head now and getting off, both teams would go, yep, no problem.
6 minutes to go. Asensio goes for a third from the edge of the area, but it was well held low down to his right by Ramsdale. Bowled out to Walker-Peters on the left-hand side. 2-0 to Aston Villa. Going fifth in the table, just behind Manchester City in fourth. So they'll leapfrog Chelsea and Newcastle with this scoreline. Oh, and that's a needless corner given away down the left-hand side by Southampton. Really fizzed back towards his own goal by Ross Stewart. And so Daniel Marlon, who's just scored Villa's second, goes over to that side of the field where the Villa fans are. But the changes are going to be made, Perry, before the corner's taken. And first player to be withdrawn for Aston Villa is going to be Asensio. And Matty Cash is the other player that's making way. Oh, was it Morgan Rogers? Forgive me, I saw 21, but it's 27. I beg your pardon, it is indeed Morgan Rogers and Matty Cash coming off. McGinn and Garcia coming on. And that was a lovely strong run from Morgan Rogers to set up that second in that area where you said, Perry Groves, you wanted him to be.
Yeah, I just thought that, you know, they could switch it over with Asensio and Rogers to go and play under 10. And what Rogers does really well, and it's a development in his game, is he gets himself side-on dance. When he's in the 10, he lets the ball roll across him so he can see that Marlon's free on his right-hand side.
Corner kick to Villa in front of their adoring fans in that far corner of the stadium. Tielemans to take it. Mings again tries to get the flick on, but it's headed up in the air by Walker-Peters and claimed at his near post by Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, just needs a bit more lofted there from Yuri Tielemans, actually outswinging with his right foot.
Still goalless at Forest Everton, by the way. And Brighton and Leicester are still locked at 2-2 at the Amex. Those are the other Premier League games going on at the moment. So as it stands, Villa going up to 54 points into fifth spot, and they'll be one behind Manchester City and 4 behind Forest if that stays at 0-0 or there's a draw at the City ground. Dibbling, neat turn in the centre circle. Oh, he's clipped from behind by John McGinn. He's only just on the field, the Scot. He's going to get a yellow card for what you would deem a professional foul on the Southampton youngster.
Do you know what? I think there was a bit of embarrassment there from John McGinn, because Tyler Dibbling just dropped his right shoulder, did a full 180 just to get himself away from John McGinn, and John McGinn hasn't even touched the ball yet. So the first impact has on the game, so there to get a yellow card, and he just puts his hand up and say, yep, okay, referee, you're 100% right. It was a little bit naughty from me.
So a free kick just ahead of the centre circle for Southampton, to be taken by Fernandez. We go left or right here. He's gone left into the area, headed away by Andres Garcia, just on for Villa from the bench. Ogachukwu plays it back into the centre circle, and back it goes to Ramsdale in the centre of his own half. Boubacar Kamara going to be on shortly for Aston Villa, and the aforementioned Jay Robinson, who we thought might be coming on with Sugawara for Southampton a moment or so ago. And he's only a young lad, Jay Robinson, from the Southampton Academy. Ostensibly he's a left winger, but this will be his debut for Southampton as a senior player.
He's got 7 goals in Premier League 2 this season. England under-18 international. Big moment for young Jay Robinson and his family.
But before he gets onto the field, Southampton have a corner that Sugawara is going to take. 2 minutes of normal time to go. Into the near post, headed out by Marlon, to the edge of the area. Fernandez goes for goal, beaten out by Martinez. He really struck that firmly, Matías Fernandez. Danger not gone yet. Sugawara lofts the ball to the far post. Harwood Bellis with a header, and it goes out for a goal kick, and they're desperate to claim a corner, and Harwood Bellis has talked himself into a yellow card for too much dissent to the referee. Yellow card for Harwood Bellis, and the changes are about to be made, one each from both sides. And it is Matías Fernandez who's coming off for Southampton. so that Jay Robinson can make his Southampton senior debut, 18 years of age. Scored 7 goals for the Southampton Academy in the Premier League 2 this season, and Onana is making way for Boubacar Kamara, like-for-like switch in defensive midfield. Don't forget the game day phone-in over on Talksport from 5:30. Jermaine Pennant with Jason Cundy taking your calls on 03717 223344, whilst we have live Super League here, Warrington against Hull at 5:15. And then on Sunday session with Sam Matterface. Where are you tomorrow for Sam?
I will be at Stamford Bridge
for Chelsea against Ipswich. Goals as they go in from around the Premier League. Over on Talksport 2 here, I'll be at Wembley Stadium with Ollie Clink, Adrian Clark and the gang. It's the Virtue Trophy final, the EFL Trophy final, Birmingham City against Peterborough. And Monday night, you've got a choice of commentaries from Premier League and Championship on Talksport. Bournemouth against Fulham, exclusive on game night. Hull versus Coventry on Talksport 2. Villa coming forward at 2-0, looking for a third with Daniel Marlon, who scored the second. Flicks it out to the right-hand side. Andres Garcia thought about putting the ball into the area, but instead he lays it back for Boubacar Kamara. Back it goes to Esri Konsa. Tielemans. Mings now just ahead of the halfway line. The 90 minutes is up. How much more extra time? 7 minutes. Well, that's no pre-season friendly referee going, all right, lads, I'll just play out a minute and then let you go home. He's making Southampton suffer a further 7 minutes.
Didn't you hear the groan from the Southampton supporters who say, we've got to sit for another 7 minutes of this?
Harrogate 2, Grimsby Town 2. Grimsby Town are only going to pick up a point this afternoon. Danny Rose with the crucial goal, their own goal. So it's all square at Wetherby Road. Accrington Stanley 3, Tranmere 2. Christian Dennis gets a late goal back for Tranmere. So that's not done and dusted yet towards the foot of League 2. Late goals can have such a bearing on what happens to teams' futures at this stage of the season. And remember, we've got lots of live commentaries from the EFL around Good Friday and Easter Monday on Talksport and Talksport 2. So many issues to be decided in the Championship. Walker Peters clears halfway down the field. Some of those games, Derby Luton, Coventry West Brom, Sheffield United Cardiff and Oxford Leeds, all on Good Friday, whether on Talksport 2 or Talksport. Just get the Talksport app downloaded for your phone and you can check the live games button on the homepage and it will show you all of our upcoming matches that we're bringing you. Down the right hand side of the area, Andres Garcia, lovely ball, headed away from Ramsdale from Bednarek, picked up left hand side by Asensio. Asensio plays the ball to the far post, Bednarek there with a header to keep it away from danger this time. But Villa have it back. Walsall have lost again. Barrow 2, Walsall 0. Emil Aqua. It's all going wrong for the Sadlers, and Matt Sadler at the worst possible time in their bid for automatic promotion. Here's Mallon up to the edge of the area. McGinn steps in, goes down, another penalty. Villa have got a chance to extend their lead as John McGinn went down under a challenge just inside the area from Jack Stevens. And the referee almost apologetically pointed to the spot. Aston Villa have a chance to extend their lead still further here.
He did really well there, John McGinn, because Marlon's just trying to weave his way on the edge of the 18-yard box. He loses control of the ball, and John McGinn just lets the ball roll across his body. And again, Jack Stevens goes to the ground where he doesn't really need to, slides in. John McGinn knows the challenge is coming, goes to the floor. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, gives his second penalty award of the day.
And it's Asensio again to try his luck. He saw his penalty saved by Aaron Ramsdale, who dived down to his left midway through the half. Portsmouth 2, Derby 2. Big goal for Rob Atkinson. He scored 3, one in his own net and 2 for his own club. Massive goal. I'll give you the significance of that at the bottom of the Championship in a moment. Barnsley 4, Bolton 1. Crawley 1, Leyton Orient 3 in League 1. So only now is Aaron Ramsdale backpedaling towards his goal line. They're just checking on VAR. It's a bit late for a VAR check, whether it was a foul or not.
I think VAR, Tim Robinson just wants to get involved. What was there to check?
Well, the screen is still showing checking penalty for foul. Asensio waiting on his goal line. It's been cleared. Asensio with the penalty, saved again. McGinn on the follow-up, tucks it away. And Asensio's blushes are spared by Aston Villa's number 7. He saw his penalty saved in exactly the same spot where Ramsdale saved the first penalty, but no Southampton player reacted to the loose ball. John McGinn did, and all 3 points are safe with 3 goals for the travelling villains. John McGinn on the mark. It's Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3.
Was it definition of insanity, Dance, where you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result? That's exactly what Asensio's done. It's exactly the same run-up, so then he telegraphs it again. So Ramsdale knows that he's going to go to Ramsdale's left. So Asensio does the stop and then start again. And then Ramsdale dives to his left, saves it, looking for a bit of help from his Southampton defenders. You said there, everybody's just watching him. John McGinn just follows in the rebound, smashes it in the back of the net, puts Aston Villa 3-0 up and saves Asensio's blushes.
Super John McGinn, they sing. Well, he's just set the seal on the 3 points. Everton score late at the City ground. Wow, Abdoulaye Doucouré makes it Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1. So Nottingham Forest will be within striking distance of Aston Villa, 57 points. Villa on 54, just a 3-point gap. Oh, and how about this? Newport 0, Colchester 1. Fiacre Kelleher putting Colchester ahead in the League 2 playoff race. That means there will be a point behind Grimsby, who are 2-2 at the moment. So Chesterfield and Colchester just below the playoff zone, closing in on Grimsby, who are only drawing at the moment. Big goal for the U's.
Never in doubt, the Cowley brothers got to keep the faith. Massive goal from Kelleher there. Was it the 88th minute?
That's what it says on my screen. 3-0 here to Villa, and we played 5 minutes of the minimum 7 that have been added on at St Mary's.
Do you know what Unai Emery will say after the game? I don't know what the pack is. He'll put 3 subs on, and all 3 subs have scored. It's quite simple, this coaching lot.
Here is Jay Robinson on his Southampton debut. Another youngster for Southampton, Dibbling. Out to the right-hand corner of the area, Sugawara floats it left-footed to the far post, looking for Walker-Peters, but Garcia deals with that very comfortably for Villa. Rolled into the feet of Asensio, who's given it away. Sugawara finds Harwood Bellis, who's pushing forward now for Southampton. Gives it back to Leslie Ogachukwu. Dibbling chips the ball into the area. Decent delivery, but it's too close to Martinez, who can claim it comfortably. And he can just clear from hands downfield, looking to get Marlon away, striding down the left-hand side, but across comes Bednarek and puts it out of play for a throw. And we're almost done at St Mary's, 3-0 Villa.
Yeah, Martinez just plucks the ball out of the air. His team is 3-0 up. The last thing that Marlon and Watkins want is the goalkeeper to launch it up the other end of the pitch, so they have to run after it. So I know Martinez just give Marlon the thumbs up, but Marlon's like, you don't really need to do that. Just keep the ball. Just try and, run the clock down. That could be the last action of this game here at St Mary's.
Just playing out time here now. The 7 minutes have elapsed that Thomas Bramall added on, as Mings just puts his foot on the ball inside his own half. No pressure on him. Plays the ball out to the left-hand side, and Maatsen. Mings gets it back again. That's a full-time score at the City Ground. Everton have beaten Forest by 1-0. Concert inside his own half. Plays the ball into the feet of Tielemans. Boubacar Kamara runs into danger. It's picked up by Robinson. Finds Smallbone. Smallbone goes for goal, and Martinez was stretching. Didn't get a touch on it. It's a goal kick in the end. But he was a bit concerned that was going to sneak into his bottom left-hand corner. But there goes the full-time whistle. More muted boos ring around St Mary's for another defeat for Southampton, and a record, an unwanted record. They've never lost 13 at home in a single campaign before today, but they have now, with a 3-0 defeat to an Aston Villa side that go back into the Champions League positions with a second half performance that was much, much better than the first, where they seemed to be just holding back somehow, but they went through the gears in the second half. Despite Marco Asensio having 2 penalties saved, they got the job done in the end. Lovely finish from Daniel Marlon after Ollie Watkins had got onto a lovely ball over the top from Yuri Tielemans with just less than 20 minutes to go to lob the ball over Ramsdale off the underside of the crossbar for 1-0. Rodgers then set up Marlon for 2-0 with 11 minutes to play. And then when Asensio saw his second penalty saved by Aaron Ramsdale, on that occasion, John McGinn was quickly on the spot to fire home the rebound. 3 precious points for Villa, sets them up very, very nicely for Tuesday night at home in the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain. But for Southampton, the unwanted records just keep on coming. Full time at St Mary's, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3.
Thank you very much, Dance. Yeah, the unwanted records keep on coming for Southampton. What a miserable afternoon for their fans yet again. And for Aston Villa, Perry, the substitutes, as you mentioned in commentary coming on, I can't believe they had 2 penalties saved as well. Obviously, John McGinn got the rebound on the second one, but what a game we had in the end in the second half, although it was cruise control for Villa.
Yeah, very much so, Faye. It was just a routine win for Aston Villa in the second half. I couldn't believe that Unai Emery took so long to bring the subs on. Impactors, they're not subs anymore. To have the impact. I think it's exactly what they had. And football's very simple sometimes, Faye. When they talk about Marcus Rashford taking the corners, free kicks, he's centre forward. Ollie Watkins comes on and he stays central. That's what he does, and we all know that he just loves to get in behind. He gets pulled down for the first penalty by Bednarek, and he does really well because he just invites a challenge. Asensio misses the penalty and telegraphs it to Aaron Ramsdale's left-hand side, and then it's a brilliant ball from Yuri Tielemans just in Southampton's half where he just dinks it over the top. Ollie Watkins is the threat in behind. As it drops over his right shoulder, Faye, it's a fantastic finish with his outside of his right foot on the volley, just puts it over Aaron Ramsdale, goes in off the crossbar, puts Aston Villa 1-0 up, and the game then, Faye, was done and dusted.
Yeah, I'm watching the Aston Villa players at the moment, actually, and some of them are pushing their players. Daniel Marlon, one of them, Ollie Watkins, another, being pushed towards the fans to go and celebrate their goals. Big goal, actually, for Ollie Watkins, because he was on the bench for that game against PSG, and you mentioned it again in commentary. Is he going to have that starting place for the game at Villa Park on Tuesday?
He has to, Faye. He has to, because I'd have been spitting feathers midweek when Aston Villa were under pressure of PSG and he didn't get on the pitch because, they needed an out. So he's had to wait for his chance here. Scores, he's get brought down for the penalty, scores his goal in the 73rd minute. And when you're asking people and players to make an impact, that's exactly what he did. He gave that threat in behind. Then another substitute, obviously, Marlon comes on. He has a brilliant finish, gives Ramsdale no chance down to his right-hand side. But that was brilliant play from Morgan Rodgers. I'd like to maybe see him in that 10 position, swap over Asensio, exactly what he did. So the 2 goals that Aston Villa scored to put them 2-0 up were of the highest quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having some breaking news coming in at the moment, actually, Perry, if you can react to it. We understand that Eddie Howe is not going to be on the touchline for tomorrow's game against Manchester United because he was taken to hospital on Friday evening. These are reports from Sky Sports News that we're getting at the moment, apparently being treated for an unknown condition at the moment. Obviously, here at Talksport, we wish him the very best. There's not much more you can add, but he's a big miss on the touchline, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they said Jason Tyndall did the press conference yesterday, didn't he? And he said that Eddie Howe hadn't been very well. He'd been sort of bedridden for the last couple of days. So all you can do, he said there, Faye, is send our love and best wishes to Eddie and his family, and hope that he's obviously in the right hands, he's in the right place.
Exactly that. Thank you very much for that, Perry. Right, it's time for us to pick our man of the match. As you can hear, the Aston Villa visiting fans in fine voice at St Mary's at the moment after a 3-0 win. But it's time for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Okay, where are you going to go with this one? Funny one. It's not Marco Asensio.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. Exactly.
The minute I asked you, that just came to me.
It's not going to be him. Yeah, it's not going to be Asensio. Aaron Ramsdale was brilliant, obviously, in goal for Southampton, even though his team got beat 3-0. 2 fantastic penalty saves. But it can only be one man. Faye, it's got to be Ollie Watkins, because he's the one. He changed the complex of the game. He changed the intensity. Got brought down for the penalty, and a magnificent finish to put Aston Villa 1-0 up. Then they calmed down. They went and obviously won in the end really comfortably 3-0. But Ollie Watkins made a massive difference, and I'll be amazed if he doesn't start against PSG midweek.
Absolutely. We shall see. Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Dance.
Cheers,
safe
mate.
journey home, both of you.
You too.
See you very, very soon. Enjoy the game tomorrow, Dance, as well. We've got live commentary of Birmingham against Peterborough in the Ventoux Cup at Wembley on Talksport 2.